World War I, American fighter pilots covering a plane's rear position coined the phrase, "I've got your six," to mean I've got your back. Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org using the number 6.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Every success you've had began with a great opportunity. Now there's another one. Last aid year, University of Maryland Global Campus awarded over $21 million in scholarships to qualified students, including community college students, service members, veterans, and working adults. Now is the time to move your career forward with an online and accredited skills-based education. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Dangerous heat in our forecast this afternoon. We have a heat advisory that's in effect. We'll see a high of 100 degrees, but it will feel more like 108. 77 for tonight. For tomorrow and Wednesday, we have an excessive heat watch. Tomorrow's high 102, feeling more like 110 or higher. So for the next at least 5 days, you want to limit your time outside in the afternoon.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 270 points to 42,477.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. On a Monday, Happy New Week to you. Producing the show today, Max Gorin. He'll be hanging out with us for the entirety of the show. Hopefully you will for as long as you can as well. I'm going to get ahead of this one because it's one of my favorite questions to ask. We're going to do a Monday sound off in the 4 o'clock hour a little bit differently today. One of my favorite questions to ask, if you're just looking for good small talk with a sports fan, you're at a wedding happy hour, you're at a business event, and you just want to talk sports, one of the I've learned the best conversation starters is, have you ever seen a really good athlete before they were them? Have you ever seen an all-time great? Have you ever seen a pro before they were them? And what I mean by that is before anybody knew that they were going to be or maybe everybody knew, but it was still like a local legend. Did you play against a future pro in high school? Did you get run over by Bo Jackson in the playground, like at recess? Like those kinds of things are what we're looking for. It's one of my favorite questions to ask. So today, with The NBA Finals now done. Stanley Cup Finals now done. Obviously, no football going on. The colleges are mostly the College World Series done. We're going to do the Monday sound off a little different, and I am going to ask you, who did you see before they were them? And hopefully we can fill some time with it. That's going to happen in the 4 o'clock hour. I love hearing these stories. I have some of my own, and we'll open up the phone lines for you to tell us kind of your brushes with greatness. I've done this on other networks, and it's been a good time, so hopefully it is here as well. With that being said, start thinking. That's in the 4 o'clock hour, not right now. I'll tell you when to call in. With that being said, right now it is time for the big three at 3. Number 1, the Thunder won the NBA championship, which has to be, as much as everybody just wants to talk about the injury to Halliburton, I'm hoping we can start with the Thunder and stay there for at least a few minutes. This is, I think, a really good development for the sport. I understand that it was not watched a lot, 2 small market teams, and it didn't have the buzz, and where was LeBron, and where was Steph, and oh no, what's going on? But the part that's good is both of these teams, and the Thunder specifically, this is not a super team. They might be super good, but they weren't put together like a super team, right? They did not wait for some star on another team to demand a trade and put out a list of 3 teams that they were on that they'd be willing to sign with, and then offer a bunch of first-round picks. And, oh, look, now they have a great team. It's different than that, right? They actually got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in a trade reverse where Paul George was on the way out to a super team, and Shai Gilgeous was part of the hodgepodge of picks and players that came in return. They drafted Chet Holmgren. They drafted Jalen Williams. They drafted so many of these guys. They drafted Josh Giddey, turned him into a value, and then threw ahead that player for Alex Caruso, who ended up being one of the more impactful players in the postseason for them, who's now a 2-time champ. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a MVP, a finals MVP, a scoring champ, and an NBA champ in the same season, one of 4 players in the history of the game to do that. Here's Shai on that particular feat.
It's hard to believe that I'm part of that group. It's hard to even fathom that I'm that type of basketball player sometimes. As a kid, you dream. And every kid dreams, but you don't ever really know if it's going to come true. And I'm just glad and happy that my dreams have been able to come true. And that's a thank you to everyone that's been in my corner that's helped me get here. I wouldn't be able to have done without them. They know exactly who they are. So, yeah, it's a win for the family.
The 4 players that he joins, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Jordan did it 4 times because he's unbelievable. Shaq, early 2000s. And now he is the 4th. So he didn't join 4. He becomes the 4th. That's pretty darn good company. One of the best seasons of all time we just witnessed from SGA. And he was the guy that was paired with a billion first-round picks and other players when the Clippers were trying to put together their super team. That's good for business. That's good for basketball. Now, are there still going to be teams that make the mistake? Yeah, I mean, the Rockets just did with Kevin Durant, literally the same day of Game 7. But the lesson remains, value is value, right? You want to win every deal, and it is bloated to the point where stars are being overbought. Now you hope the copycat league goes in that direction, and then eventually it'll swing back right? Because now everybody's going to want to build like the Pacers and the Thunder, and everybody's going to be interested in acquiring just tons and tons of young players and picks and trying to build that way and have everybody be friends and grow up together. And then it'll come to the point where you can buy like a 7-time All-Star for cheap, and that'll be the new way. It's about finding the value where it is, being flexible, being adaptable. That's number 1. Number 2, College World Series ump show. I hate it. LSU won. right? Actually, and there's enough to be mad about right there. LSU wins. Darn SEC. They've won 2 of the last 3, LSU has, but they're spending a boatload of money. It wasn't that long ago that State fans hated it because NC State baseball players would be good and LSU would buy them. And we could be here mad about that. Matter of fact, we should be. But instead, everyone's mad at an ump. And that just feels wrong. So for at least a couple minutes, I'm going to postpone that conversation, and I'm just going to play the clip of LSU winning the College World Series.
This could be 2 and the game. Dickinson, Milam, and that's it. Tiger Town is Title Town again as the boys bring the 8th World Series title back to the Bayou.
I don't even like that they call it Tiger Town. There's a billion tigers in college sports. Clemson, Princeton. But you're Tiger Town? Get out of here. Just because you used to have a live mascot?
Well, they had the big float, though, so.
That's Big Mike, right? Is that what they call him?
Mardi Gras Mike.
Mardi Gras Mike.
I didn't realize people can, ride around in it, too.
Inside? It's like a Trojan horse?
Yeah, on top of the tiger, yeah. They were celebrating.
There's enough reasons to be mad. We don't need umps to be mad at.
Yeah, probably after a few Jello shots, he'd pop up on the tiger, ride around the city of Omaha.
I'd pretend I'm an LSU fan if it meant got to ride around on Mardi Gras Mike. And then lastly here in the Big Three, I know this broke on Friday, but I didn't get a chance to address it, and I want to. Another underrated great signing by the Carolina Hurricanes. Eric Robinson, 4 years, $1.7 million average annual value. He did everything. Like, this is good for culture in that you sign someone on $1 million deal. He does everything you asked of him. You reward him with stability. The cool part as far as win-win for the team and player is they give each other the exact opposite thing. Him signing gives the team the ultimate flexibility. They can be as nimble and as loose as they need to be because every position is technically filled right now, right? They have enough forwards, enough defensemen, and enough goalies that if they had to play a game tomorrow, they could, which means there's no necessity that they have to go fill. There are things we certainly want them to go do, but there's no absolute necessities with Eric Robinson in the lineup, which allows them to, all right, if this player becomes available, we can do that. If that player becomes available, we can do that. This position, that position, it's all on the table. They're the ultimate flexibility now. He, on the other hand, gets stability, right? He gets a 4-year commitment, $1.7 million per. Basically, I mean, he made 7.1 in his career in his first 7 years. He's going to make 5.7 in the next 4. That's a step up in earnings and a certain amount of, that check is coming every single year. You can make plans.
And he just had a kid, so
there
helps.
It is. I mean, I don't know how you were going to raise a child on just the $7 million you made in your first 7 years.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's pennies.
There's agent fees and,
Well, he's got the stability for his family now. That's a big thing for a lot of guys. And a lot of families a lot of the guys with families like living in this area too. Mm-hmm. So it's a good place to raise a family.
Bring more kids around the rink. Who else just had a baby? Mitch Marner. Let's make sure there's a good daycare, right? For all the players, all the kids' players. Like, that's all good. But Robinson's also, he's 6'2". He's over 210 pounds. That can't be forgotten on a team where, right, the analytics have told them not to worry about height and weight, and they don't mind grabbing the smaller guys. I'd like your fourth line to be a little bit stockier, in case need be. Right, you need a few people that you can call up if you need them. Eric, it's a good move. It's a good move, and now, you'd hope kind of the boring part of the offseason is done, right? You've done all of the boring stuff. Now it's time to go fireworks, right? Now it's time to aim big. There's a lot of potential for this offseason for the Canes. Robinson, I believe, is kind of the only free agent that they'll be bringing back, and it's time to go trophy hunting. And we'll see where that goes. Again, 4 days to the draft? So if you're going to be trading a pick this year, usually teams want to be able to, choose their guy. So 4 days till the draft, which will be kind of a frenzy of trading. Then 8 days to free agency. Things get crazy from there. But they took care of the boring, so now they get to have fun with the crazy. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We talked about the NBA Final. We talked about the College Baseball World Series, but we didn't talk about the real stories of each because they're way more bummers. Why this was a kind of, for as big as the sports weekend was, it was kind of awful. I'll tell you why next.
Did you catch Luisito's header? Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless. Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless. I got that tablet too. And I got that phone too. We both got both. Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, that'd be great. Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a two-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
And that's it. The first title of the OKC era is complete. One of the youngest rosters in recent memory has just completed one of the finest seasons in NBA history. The Oklahoma City Thunder have their first championship, and they're the 2025 NBA champions.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This weekend had the potential to be a really good casual sports fan weekend because there were a lot of high-stakes things. There was a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Those don't happen often. Game 7. There was a College Baseball World Series final going on between a behemoth and Coastal wouldn't want them to be described this way, but a Cinderella-ish mid-major program. I know they've won a national championship recently, but they're not LSU. Like there was a David versus Goliath feel there for all the stakes, right? For all the marbles. I left the weekend feeling unsatisfied. Here's why. And it's I mean, I say it all the time. When you don't have a rooting interest, and I didn't. I guess we were kind of in it for Coastal, but in the NBA Finals, I could not care less. I care about basketball, and I want to watch the game, but I could not care less if OKC or Indy won. Don't know anyone on the team. Don't root for either team. Same is pretty much true for LSU and Coastal. One of the things you root for, aside from like, oh, I hope it's entertaining, is you don't want the story the next day to be about refs or injuries. If it's about refs or injuries, then it's a bummer, right? Because that means the championship storyline wasn't the one you hoped for. And if you had your druthers, right, if you could be even more picky, you'd want it to be a team that reached out and grabbed the championship rather than a team fumbling it away. But hey, sometimes the fumbling it away is the story. That's part of it, right? That's competition. The pressure gets to you. So really, I don't think you're asking for much to just say, I don't want the main takeaway to be the refs or an injury. And then the NBA Finals happened, and quite honestly and quite obviously, the story ends up being Tyrese Halliburton popped his Achilles. The day after a Game 7, right? Two best words in sports, Game 7. The day after a Game 7, which may or may not have sparked a dynasty, depending on who you asked, right? OKC could be in line for a long run of a lot of success. The day after a Game 7, I'm sitting here debating if 6 or 7 Achilles ruptures is enough that the league should look into it. Wow, this postseason alone, Dame Lillard, Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, would you look at that? Do you know what is really not a fun conversation?
This one?
Is 3 stars going down in the postseason to an Achilles rupture enough to bring about immediate change? Oh, the pace of the league, guys are getting up and down the floor more, and the load management. Should there be more load management? Should teams that want their stars to have long careers actually play a slower style of basketball? This is an awful conversation, but that's the one we're having. You want more sadness? Here's Pascal Siakam after the game. Maybe depending who you talk to, he could be the best player on the Pacers, maybe second best. Talking about whichever one he isn't, the other, right? These are the 2 best players in the Pacers. Pascal Siakam talking about the Halliburton injury.
Yeah, it was tough. Well, obviously, just off the bat, just wishing him well. It was just hope for the best. But I'm proud of that kid. He went through so much during the year. A lot of criticism. It's a lot, for a young kid to go through, and he had a lot of stress, a lot of and he just kept battling, man. He kept fighting every single day. He kept just working, and he did some incredible things like this whole playoff run and this year, I'm just super proud of him. Obviously, it hurts because we couldn't get it done, and I wanted it so bad for him, and just because I know that he gave us everything, everything he had, and it just hurts that he he couldn't see it through with us.
I don't want to take anything away from the Thunder. They won, they deserved it. Real champs, no asterisk. But the conversation has to include that injury. And you know what else I hate? Slow motion replays of guys popping their Achilles.
They would not stop showing it over and over again.
Like wait for the ripple, and there it is.
There it is.
It's like, you see the spring coil.
Yeah, I was like cringing. I was like curling up into the fetal position every time, like cringing. I was like, please stop showing the replay.
One more time, go back to him slamming his palm on the ground and screaming. That's okay. Now back to the Achilles popping. All right, there it is. Now back to the screaming. I'm like, goodness gracious, we get it. He's hurt. But at least there was the College Baseball World Series, right? That one, no, all we're talking about is the umpire. LSU wins, second time in 3 years, right? Like I said, there's enough to be upset about there, but all we're talking about is Kevin Schnall, the Coastal Carolina head coach, being ejected in the first inning of a game where they were trying to avoid elimination. For the explanation on why, here's Kevin Schnall.
25,000 people there, and I vaguely hear a warning issued. As the head coach, I was assistant for 24 years, and as an assistant, you're almost treated like a second level citizen, and you can't say a word. Now as a head coach, I think it is your right to get an explanation of why we got warned. And I'm 48 years old. I shouldn't get shooed by another grown man. Right, so when I come out to ask what the warning is, a grown man shooed me. So at that point, I can now hear him say, it was a warning issued for arguing balls and strikes. And at that point, I said, because you missed 3. At that point, ejected. If that warrants an ejection, I'm the first one to stand here like a man and apologize.
I have a few follow-up questions for the speaker, Kevin. What age is shooing okay? 48 unacceptable is I'm sitting here at 34. Am I allowed to get shooed?
Well, if you're an assistant, you can shoe an assistant, but you can't shoe the head coach.
Because you're a second-rate citizen, isn't it? here's the thing. He's upset with the rules, but he knew them. I think it's a dumb rule, okay? That assistants can't say anything. If assistants argue balls and strikes at all, they're ejected. That's a rule. Now is not the time. Like in the first inning of an elimination game in the College Baseball World Series isn't the time to be like, there's some rules that I think we should be testing. No, that's the opportunity to know the rules, and if you want to argue them, do it in the offseason or make the stance earlier in the regular season. Secondly, he drew it out one by one. He drew it out step by step and then said, if that is grounds for an ejection, by the letter of the law, yeah. And I didn't know this, okay? I had to go and do a little bit of research to figure it out. The only person allowed to argue balls and strikes at all is the head coach. And once they do, they get a warning. If they continue to argue balls and strikes at all, it's an ejection. So his little story there of I didn't hear a warning, and then he said there was a warning for balls and strikes, and I turned around and said, because you missed 3, there's your ejection. If that is grounds, that is grounds. Now, do I think he should have been ejected? If I were the ump, I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have explained to him very clearly, like, Coach, if you say one more word about balls and strikes, you're ejected. You should already be ejected. But I'm giving you one more chance. I would have read the room. But the ump doesn't have to. Okay? So I'm with all the baseball purists that, you can't do it, not in that moment, I'm with you. But I also, there's got to be some put on the coach here. You can't control you have to get the last word in. You had to get, but you've missed 3. Ba-boom, bang, there you go. See you later. Have a nice shower. Especially because you're the coach. Do you think at any point in time he told his players, the ump's not going to give you every good call. You have to be able to deal with it. You have to handle your emotions. I hate that we're talking about this.
Yeah, we could have been talking about some fourth quarter dramatics in the Game 7 and, maybe there could have been a Game 3. I mean, maybe the result would have been different if Coastal had their coach and their first base coach for the rest of the because he got ejected too, but
Or Anderson, we could have been talking, like if LSU just wins it ho-hum and there's no ejections, we're talking about the pitcher Anderson's like gem in Game 1.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to end up being a first or second round pick in the Major League Baseball draft. And even that, I'm a grown man. Take that and I don't know what you're going to do with it. Do whatever you want with it. No grown man's going to shoo me. It's like, oh, well, good on you. Well, you taught him his lesson, didn't you? You got ejected from the most important game of your coaching career to this point, but at least no grown man will shoo you.
No, he shooed you out of the stadium.
Yeah, it's. You think you're winning in that press conference? No, you already lost. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're gonna hit the Dean's List coming up next, and I promise you this: we're gonna talk about some big money being spent by one of the teams right here in the Triangle. Stick around.
Hey friends, Paul Eihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. And as you know, here in North Carolina, summers heat up, and so are those deals at the Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. Right now, you can save up to $5,000 instantly on a brand new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. And you know these homes are built tough in state-of-the-art facilities that protect them during construction. And you know every home is loaded with energy-smart features, giving you comfort, efficiency, and long-term savings. And with tons of floor plans and fully furnished models, it's easy to find your perfect match. Visit your local Clayton Homes or Oakwood Homes or check out limited-time offers now at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. But don't wait. The Clayton Homes Sign and Save event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Progressive knows RV owners like to travel at a nice, relaxing pace. Just like this commercial. They're not rushing to a departure gate at the airport because they depart from their driveway. And they can relax even more knowing they're protected by Progressive. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm going to remind you of this throughout the show to make sure if you have a good one, you have time to put all your details in order. Monday Soundoff, which will be coming up at about 4:15, so a little less than an hour from now. We're doing it a little differently. Normally Monday Soundoff, I turn the show over to you. You get to talk about whatever you want to talk about, but with the understanding that there's not a lot to react to right now. We're kind of in the dog days of summer, if you will. We're posing a question, and we're asking you to answer the question. And the question is, what athlete did you see before they were great? Okay? So at 4:15, we're going to open up the phone lines, and I want to hear about the future NBA player that you saw play in high school. I want to hear about the all-time great that was in the neighborhood over and would show up at your pickup games. I want to hear those kinds of stories. Okay? That's what I want to hear. Any of them. Could be someone went to your high school, went to your elementary school, whatever. Just somebody you saw before they ended up going on to the greatness in the athletic world. We'll open up the phone lines at about 4:15, and I want to hear from you. Right now, we'll open up the Dean's List. Classes in session. We'll start with this one. North Carolina, the Tar Heels athletics program. They announced how much of the revenue share they will be committing and to where it is going. And I have to admit, UNC was more ruthless than I thought. First of all, they will share the full amount. So the maximum allowed by the recent House settlement that the school, the amount of revenue that the school can share with its players, meaning pay their athletes, is $20.5 million. That is the max. Now, they don't have to pay to the max. Schools don't have to pay to the max. UNC has announced in a letter that athletics director Bubba Cunningham put out to the kind of world. They're going to spend to the full amount, so $20.5 million, which is that's positive. The interesting part is you kind of have to declare which sports are going to be receiving that money. And this is where the ruthlessness set in. Football and men's basketball. No doubt we knew they were going to go there. Women's basketball and baseball will receive some revenue sharing as well. That's it. That's cold-blooded. And the reason why I think it's probably smart is that does not limit NIL, okay? School or players from other sports can still go get endorsement deals. They can still be lucrative. They just won't get paid directly from the school outside of their scholarships. If you spread yourself out, you're at a disadvantage in those sports that we mentioned. 3, maybe 4 sports is really all you can afford to be competitive in, because football needs to get if you want to be competitive with other football schools, you need to have as much as you can. And we know from Bill Belichick's contract that the number has been set at around $13 million, which is lower than the max for one sport. You know, men's basketball is going to be a priority for UNC, and they're probably going to be a little bit less than some of the premier programs already, just by splitting it with football in the way they will. Women's basketball and baseball, they I imagine won't be getting a ton, but they'll be getting a little bit. But if you tried to pay, even though they win national championships, women's soccer and field hockey, if you tried to pay men's and women's lacrosse, if you tried to pay the soccers, the track and fields, everything, you're really just making it more difficult for your premier brands to compete. So I'm sure this was not an easy decision, but it ends up being one that I think they got right. And now you want to make sure your brand building and marketing and everything are out there building up NIL evaluations for your sports that aren't receiving revenue share, so you can still continue to recruit at a high level and you can still, find value for them monetarily elsewhere. But I would have assumed at least 7 or 8 sports for UNC would have been in the revenue share because they have so many that win national championships. It's really hard to look at a national championship winning team and go, all right, fend for yourself. Meanwhile, we're going to go fund this football program that, hopefully in a couple of years can compete for a conference championship. It's kind of brutal.
Hopefully, maybe a stretch. We'll see.
Hey, if they're giving all the money, you'd hope.
That's true. The only way to make that happen is to invest.
You would hope. Another Dean's List member, Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin, the Badgers. They filed a lawsuit on Friday claiming that the Miami football team, talking to you, broke the law by tampering with a Wisconsin player, a first-of-its-kind legal attempt to enforce the terms of a financial contract between a football player and his school. They name names. The only way tampering is going to stop, and I think it has to, I think tampering is one of the few things of all of these changes that has been a true just negative. If a player doesn't put their name in the portal, if they're not interested in leaving, they shouldn't have to deal with offers coming in every which way. And schools that are doing it right, that are making it fun, making it worthwhile for players so they don't want to leave, shouldn't have to fend off or beat offers from other teams. But the problem is no one's been naming names. Everybody goes, tampering's a problem. And who's tampering? Ooh, I don't know. Because I assume they don't want people looking for the skeletons in their closet. Wisconsin better be running a squeaky clean program because they're suing Miami. If Miami faces severe punishment, tampering will go down. I don't know if it'll ever go away, but it will go down. Do you have a Dean's List you'd like to throw out there?
I do. I'll put NC State basketball on the Dean's List. We'll wait. John Rothstein reporting today that they are scheduling a neutral site series, quote-unquote home-and-home series with Ole Miss. Looks like they'll be playing December 21st in Greensboro, and then there will be a return at another neutral site closer to Ole Miss next season. I think it's starting this kind of trend, too. Wake Forest had one of these series where they played in Greensboro against Michigan last year, and this year they're going to play them in Detroit at the Little Caesars. But NC State, giving them the Dean's List just because their non-conference schedule is it's a big jump in strength from last year where they only played maybe 3 or 4 tournament teams. So far on the non-con schedule, they've already got Auburn, Kansas. Looks like they're adding Ole Miss. They've got VCU, Liberty, as well as the Maui Invitational. And then a couple early season games against NC Central and UAB as well. So NC State gets on my Dean's List just for beefing up that non-con schedule for this year.
Last year, State was 5 or 6-0, and we had no clue if they were any good. Just had absolutely no idea. Because it was no offense to these schools, it was Colgate, it was USC Upstate, it was
Coastal,
Presbyterian. It was a lot of I don't know. We'll keep it rolling with the scheduling. There's a lot of scheduling coming out today. Wake Forest announced a home and home with Vanderbilt. So they'll be at home against Vanderbilt this December 21st. Then they'll be at Vanderbilt next year. I like everything about this. It's another SEC, ACC, like you just mentioned, with Ole Miss and State. The only problem I don't like is they wear the same colors. Come on.
Yeah, a lot of yellow and black going on there. Gold and black.
This is interesting. For Duke also announced some scheduling. I believe this is a regular season And there may even be a game between two teams that aren't Duke at Cameron.
Yeah, the Brotherhood Run.
Brotherhood Run regular season edition is what they call it. They tweeted. Howard, which is coached by a Duke player from the 90s, Kenny Blakeney. Niagara, which is coached by a Duke player from the mid-2000s, Greg Paulus. And then obviously Duke, which is coached by John Shire, player from the 2010s. They're going to do like a triangular where Duke is going to play Niagara on November 21st. Then Niagara and Howard, I think they're going to play, it looks like by the graphic, they'll play in Cameron on the 22nd. And then on the 23rd, Duke will play Howard. So they'll all play each other in back-to-back-to-back nights. I think that's cool. Kind of weird, but I think it's cool. And I would assume Duke likes the idea of games that they are going to win by a whole bunch that don't just feel like they brought in teams to beat by a whole bunch.
Well, the last Brotherhood Run game, they won by 56, so.
It's just, it's kind of like a bye win disguised as something else.
It's like, hey, come on down, Brotherhood. We're only going to beat you by 60.
And I'm sure it's a nice check going back towards those programs.
Oh, definitely.
So they're stoked to go, have their players experience where they played. So it's a bunch of scheduling news in the ACC and the Triangle. Last one here in the Dean's List for you. Merrick Houston, Ethan Conrad, Luke Stevenson, and Josh Hammond. These are all players that have been mocked by someone, CBS, Sporting News, USA Today, ESPN, somebody to go in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. Now that the College Baseball World Series is over, the next thing, it's like 20 days until the draft. And they all have ties to something in the area. Merrick Houston, shortstop, and Ethan Conrad, outfielder, Wake Forest players. Luke Stevenson, a catcher from UNC. And Josh Hammond is actually a high school player, third baseman from Wesleyan Christian in North Carolina. They've been mocked at different times to the first round of the Major League Baseball draft. So it's just as, the next page turns, you'd like to see them have some success.
And shout out Chase Burns, too, who was the first-round pick from Wake Forest last year. He's making his first Major League start for the Reds tomorrow.
Oh, look at that. His teammate, Nick Kurtz, with the A's, is just mashing taters.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe all these Wake Forest guys getting drafted is why their pitching coach was just named the head coach at Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Who would have guessed?
And they had Rhett Lauder a couple of years ago, too. I mean, they've built a very good baseball program down there.
Should have been better this year, but we'll talk about that another day. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's dismiss the Dean's List. And let's get to winners and losers when we come back after this.
I'm Jeff Jr., founder and CEO of Trajan Wealth. I was born and raised in northern Wisconsin by both my father, who owned a small 10-lane bowling alley, and my mother, who was a nurse, who did her best caring for everyone in our small town. My parents stressed with me that if you were going to do anything, it needed to be done right or not done at all. I later joined the Marine Corps, where additional values were instilled. Values like honor, courage, and commitment. The motto of the Marine Corps, Semper Fi, which means always faithful. The best part of Trajan Wealth, our 100-plus employees who also embrace the exact same values. If your current financial advisor is more interested in selling you something or is more loyal to their own financial gain than yours, give us a call for a second opinion. We would be honored to hear from you. Call Trajan today, 919-200-4000. That's 919-200-4000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time.
Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time.
Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Want to score points with your boss? Recruit RoofWorks to your building maintenance team to handle your commercial roofing needs. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. We've helped hundreds of Triangle businesses with their commercial roof maintenance, repairs, and if necessary, total replacements. Our pros come to your site, assess your roofing needs, and then give you a range of options to fit your budget. And we'd love to work with you. For roof maintenance and repair, contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Haven't done this yet, but please subscribe to our YouTube. A little personal favor. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Search for it. Subscribe to it. Tell your friends about it. We'd appreciate it. Side note, before we get to winners and losers, can we please stop acting like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has come out of nowhere? He's been really good for a while. He was a lottery pick out of Kentucky. Like, that's for some reason, I don't know, maybe because he's quiet. The guy's in commercials that are played 9,000 times every March Madness.
He's in, it's probably the 3rd year of him being an MVP candidate, 3rd or 4th year. So it's not like he's like freshly on the scene or anything.
Let's not treat him like Linsanity just suddenly took over and won an NBA Finals, which is what I'm seeing a lot of. It's just wildly frustrating. He's really good and has been for a long time. That being said, let's get to winners and losers. Let's fire up some music. All right, winners and losers. This is obviously more about vibes. Who's won and who's lost the last week. Not just, oh, this team scored more points. It's who won and who lost. You know what I'm talking about. We'll get it started. I'm going with this one. Ready? It's a bounce back winner. Canada. Because they lost the Stanley Cup, right? Edmonton didn't get it. That was the one that everyone was excited, which gives America kind of the, like, even at your sport, we're the best. Yeah, ha, ha. But then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Canadian, and he wins MVP, Finals MVP, scoring title, and the NBA champ. And they kind of get to look back and go like, ha, ha, ha. Well, your sport, we've got the best. I don't think he's the best player in the world. He's one of. But it's still got to be a pretty good immediate clapback for the Canadian sports fans.
They got Lou Dort as well, another Canadian on the team. So they got 2 Canadians.
Shout out to Lou Dort. If you were surprised by Lou Dort, that one's okay. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you had to see coming. You had to. I'll go loser. And this one pains me to say. Tommy Fleetwood. The guy just can't win. He had it all. He had the red carpet rolled out for him. Make a 6-footer on 14. Make a decent shot on a bunch of other holes. It was the Travelers Championship, which is, by the way, like elevated event, a lot of money, but not the most prestigious thing. So you'd think the pressure wouldn't be too bad for him. For those of you that don't follow golf, Tommy Fleetwood has been one of the 20 best golfers in the world.
For like...
ever.
Yeah, for like 5 years at least.
More than that. Probably a decade. And he has no wins on the PGA Tour. He has wins on the European Tour. He has wins in like he can win. He's been a Ryder Cup guy a whole bunch. But he just, for whatever reason, he finishes second, he finishes third, he finishes fourth, can't win. And over the weekend, it looked like he was going to get it done. He was ahead comfortably at the Travelers Championship. Like I said, he had a 6-footer on 14. If he wins, it's pretty much iced. Or if he makes the putt, he pretty much ices it. Doesn't make it. Plays the last 3 holes, 2 over. Keegan Bradley plays him 1 under. Keegan wins. It's, again, you don't have to like it, but it might be mental at this point where he's just demons rear their ugly head.
Yeah, the last 3 holes he played in at 2 over, and then on the last hole, seeing him in the fairway, last second he decides to club down, ends up hitting it short of the green, while Keegan Bradley hits the club that he was going to hit, the 9-iron, sticks it to like 7 feet, and then just the short game. It was a bit of a collapse. He's now 0 for 159 in tour starts for wins, and that was his 42nd top 10 finish.
I almost think he has to win one where like he goes 6 under on Sunday from like 30th and is off the course when somebody else, collapses or something like that. He's got to do I don't know if he can win one on the course right now. And then once he does, I think he could. But man, sorry, Tommy.
Open the floodgates with 1.
Sorry, Tommy, you're a loser this week. Do you have some winners and losers you'd like to throw out here?
Yeah, I'll give a winner to the Philadelphia Flyers. Made a move today.
So you're a fan of Zegras?
Yeah, well, I'm so. So he has a lot of potential as a very high skill player who can score a lot of points. But more so to win just because of the value of the trade. The Flyers really did not have to give up very much to acquire Trevor Zegras. I believe what was a 4th, a 2nd, and Ryan Poling. That is not a massive bounty to have to trade for Trevor Zegras, who even just a couple of seasons ago would have at least gone for a first-round pick.
Still young, too.
Yeah, he's still only 24, I believe. The Flyers, in the midst of a rebuild, could definitely use some high-skill players like that who have potential to maybe even be like point per game. I mean, if you match him or if you pair him up, put him on a line with Matvei Michkov, that could be just electricity. You can see some really cool plays. So from one orange team to another, I'll give a winner to the Flyers and their GM Danny Briere.
Strange move by Anaheim, clearing space for something
they're
very
clearing
big.
Cap space. We've heard a lot of the Marner talk with them, and it would make sense to me. But who knows?
I never got this. We're hearing it with Vegas too. Why would Marner want to go to a team that was not a juggernaut this year, that has to actively get worse in order for him to fit? Like, if you get to choose, it's like, okay, we weren't that great this year, but imagine us without a couple of young contributors that we could move to fit your salary. Like, that never made sense to me about the free agency thing. Like, Vegas is the same thing. Vegas was good, don't get me wrong, but they weren't like a juggernaut. And they're going to have to get rid of contributors if they want to fit Marner.
Vegas is a bit more of a tight fit. Anaheim has $36 million in cap space now. So
they're hoping to make a bunch of big moves.
They just made a coaching change.
That's got Marner plus.
Yeah, they got some young talent, Jackson Lacombe on the back end.
That would make sense if we're like, hey, listen, we're going to fit you in for $14 million, and we want you to give input on how we spend the next $30 or $22 million. That does make sense.
Yeah, so it's a young team looking to get into contention, and I like the move for both sides. Honestly, it's a what I believe could be a win-win.
Loser, Dallas Stars. They traded Mason Marchment for, speaking of pennies, a 4th rounder and a 3rd rounder, and just a salary dump. I mean, he's not even yet 30. I think he will be by next year. But he's like 40 or 50 points, and you gave him up for a 3rd and a 4th. That's got to sting. That's just cap management coming back to bite you in the rear. And they might have to do that a few more times if they don't want to move on from something even more valuable. So, like, they gotta take their medicine on some moves that they made. They did re-sign Duchesne, which adds to it. They're still in salary cap trouble. So, if you're in salary cap trouble, this is such like me on my Canes high horse. Anybody in cap trouble, I'm like, you don't have $27 million sitting there with your entire roster already signed. Must be tough for you, loser.
Must be hard. We wouldn't know.
Well, we've known in the past, but just not right now.
They have made some good moves though. Like the Duchesne extension makes sense, reasonable number. Them getting Mav Bork re-signed for another year at like $950,000. That's a good value play too.
They're going to need 5 more $900,000 players if they don't make something crazy happen.
They're still in a bit of a pinch, yeah, for sure.
I'll go a winner and a loser here. Similar. Winner, Cooper Flagg. Loser, Ace Bailey. Cooper Flagg going into the NBA draft with no worries, like zero at all. Everybody in your draft class, everybody you've been at AAU, All-Stars, Team USA, U19 with, all this stuff, they're all sweating it out, and you're just like, yeah, I've been looking at real estate in Dallas for the last couple of weeks. I think I got a penthouse. He was at a Fanatics Fest, whatever the card show was, with a bunch of like side shows this weekend. Buying his own rookie cards, just walking around like, how much is that? Oh, this one's cool. Oh, that's got a picture of me at the McDonald's game. I'll take that one. He's got no stress. Ace Bailey, he's creating his own stress.
I've never seen a prospect try to tank their draft stock.
Either that or there is something, because here's the deal. If you don't know, Ace Bailey, Arius Ace Bailey from Rutgers, has refused to work out for anybody. He had a workout scheduled with the Sixers, who picked 3rd in the draft, and he canceled it 2 days before unless they gave him a guarantee that they were going to pick him number 3. And these guarantees, you may be like, what is it, in contract? No, but you don't want to lie to agents because then, it bites you in free agency next time. Blah, blah, blah. They said, no, we're not going to we got to see you work out. So he said, I'm not coming. They had breakfasts scheduled. They had a whole bunch of stuff. He hasn't worked out for anybody. I don't know what that does because they've seen him play basketball. I don't know. But not taking any meetings is wild for your stress level. Wild. And I don't see why you wouldn't. Go knock down a couple jumpers. Get drafted 3rd. Unless you're hiding something.
Well, to me, it seems like they just want to hand pick what situation they're going into. It seems a lot of the theorizing I've been seeing online
I've heard that he wants to go somewhere where he'll be super duper featured because then he'll score more points and he's more likely to get all rookie or 3rd team all NBA, which boosts your potential next supermax.
But at the same time, who wants to play for the Washington Wizards?
Well, even more at the same time, you get more money on your rookie contract being drafted higher. You want to talk about more money? Go get more money.
It's all about the second contract anyway.
If you get there, maybe he's hiding because he's not that good. That's what people are thinking. Maybe he's not that good. Apparently he can shoot the lights out. I haven't seen it in a workout. I didn't watch Rutgers basketball. His teammate did all the workouts. He's likely going 2nd. Harper. So I guess they have different agents. They don't do everything together. Do we have one more here? Let me see here. Oh, winner Tom Brady at that Fanatics Fest. He won the inaugural Fanatics games, which pitted athletes and celebrities against fans in 8 competitions, like a soccer shootout, baseball target accuracy, hockey into the washer dryer. I thought it was kind of stupid. One of them was also WWE entrance.
Yeah,
there was some dumb stuff.
It's a little corny, but
I don't know. He won. Came with $1 million prize. He said he's given $5,000 to every fan that was in the competition, and the rest he's donating to charity. Winning is winning, right? Brady building the brand.
Quite literally a winner, so fits the bill.
Joe Burrow looked awful throwing a baseball.
He did. He couldn't hit the strike zone.
He couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
He was just trying to get
couldn't hit water out of a boat.
He's trying to get the ghost batter to chase outside.
Couldn't hit the fridge in the kitchen. He was throwing it like he was throwing like a swing route or something, and he was hitting it way left. It was a fumble, went behind the line of scrimmage. But if you had to choose, you're a quarterback, good at throwing a football, good at throwing a baseball. Probably gonna pick the quarterback or pick the football. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, because he throws a very, very pretty ball on the football field. We'll take a break. When we come back, it is time for football at 4. We look towards a big trade and what it might mean for the Panthers. We're just learning lessons here. Stick around.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Down on credit cards? Struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. T&Cs apply.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it.
That one back. That one going.
Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Now, we're used to heat in North Carolina, but there are certain times of year we ask you to take steps to protect yourself from the heat. 100 this afternoon. Heat advisory in effect. It's going to feel like up to 108. 77 tonight. Tomorrow's high 102, feeling like 110 or hotter. So you just can't overdo it in the afternoon. Not just today and tomorrow, but really all week long.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is up 377 points to 42,584.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for football at 4. And here's the deal, okay? Actually, the deal is quite simple. Do not panic when you're building a roster in professional sports. It is not linear. It is not always going to be just getting better and better and better. There's going to be snags in the road. There's going to be issues of slight slowdown. I promise you, it'll be okay. And here's why I bring it up. Because the Rockets were doing everything right. The Rockets were doing everything right. They ironically were building very similar to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who just won an NBA championship. And guess what happened instead? They panicked, went out, and bought Kevin Durant. They bought Kevin Durant. The Suns and Knicks. So Knicks, where did that come? The Suns and Rockets. It's such a bad move, I assume the Knicks did it. The Suns and Rockets agreed to send Kevin Durant to Houston in a deal for Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 overall pick in this upcoming draft, and 5 second-rounders. Now, that's not so much that it's absurd. It's not the Paul George trade with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a bunch of first-rounders, but it's a 36-year-old, about to be 37-year-old in September, Kevin Durant, going to a team that was one of the youngest in the league. And that was part of the beauty. Part of the beauty was this past year, Jalen Green was 22. And Reed Shepherd, who was having a hard time getting on the court, but he was just 20 years old. Jabari Smith was 21. Amen Thompson was 21. Cam Whitmore, another first-round pick, 20. Even like some of the older contributors, Dylan Brooks was 28. They had so much room to grow. Şengün, 22. You had a decade ahead of contention. With Kevin Durant, you have 2-3 years at best. And that's if a 7-footer stays just as effective as he is right now until almost 40. There is, I mean, cliche. It might be the original cliche. Be patient. Patience is a virtue. Here's how you develop, like once you make the move, right? And they had the players, right? They had at different points in time Chris Paul, and they had James Harden, and they had Dwight Howard, and they had Russell Westbrook was there. Like they had all of these players, and it didn't work out. And it felt like they finally went, you know what? Let's do it the right way. They tried to build it fast a bunch of times, and it didn't work. So they went, fine, we'll burn everything down to the ground. We'll start over, and we'll do it the right way. And they were on the way. They were on the way. And then they panicked. And they sent away a 20-plus point scorer who's 22 years old in Jalen Green. And they panicked, and they sent away the 10th overall pick, which could have just added to their treasure trove of young players, right? The beauty of having all these picks, and OKC has this right now, is if a couple of your first-rounders turn into role players, that's fine. Because you have 5 other chances to get the star. Right? Draft for skills, draft to develop. If Reed Shepherd spends a year in the G League or 2 years in the G League, who cares? You have other guys carrying the load. You were the 2nd seed in the West. So let's hear from Stephen A. just because this is, it's Stephen A. Smith talking basketball. Here's what he had to say about Houston.
I mean, the man is 27 points per game. You see what he brings to the table. He's instant offense for a team that was lacking and struggling in offense. He provides that. He elevates them to championship status. They got a shot to win it all with him, Van Vliet. Amen Thompson's going to be a star. He's going to elevate his level of play with Kevin Durant as his teammate. Şengün is no joke. Plus, you kept Jabari Smith and a few other pieces. So, Tillman Fertitta is ecstatic. Ime Udoka is ecstatic. You can guess how I know those things. I'm trying to tell you, they love it. They are incredibly happy about it.
I don't care if the owners are excited. Obviously, they care and they get to do whatever they want. But was the GM excited? Was the assistant coach excited? Right? That's what. Here's the issue I have. They did struggle offensively. They can't shoot. They had nobody on the team that could shoot the three. I mean, Dylan Brooks a little bit. They couldn't shoot.
And Jalen Green was one of the bigger,
but the
causes of that.
The crazy part is Reed Shepherd can. He was in the G League, and that's why you drafted him, whatever it was, 3rd overall. And I guarantee you someone will be able to shoot at pick number 10. And you have 1 billion other first-round picks and 1 billion other second-round picks. You can draft shooters to put around these guys that are young studs. Kevin Durant can shoot, yes. Don't get me wrong. Kevin Durant isn't a floor spacer. He's not a guy who's like, let me park in the corner and have you guys all handle the ball. And no, so these young guys now don't have the ball in their hands. They're going to develop more slowly. They're going to develop at a lesser rate because they're going to have to stand around and watch KD occasionally. Which, by the way, if you don't do it, you're wasting KD because he might be the best scorer of a generation. So looking at it, the lesson learned is be patient. Imagine this, okay? Imagine if the Panthers... Okay, we're talking Carolina Panthers. Suddenly, like right now, traded for Stephon Diggs or Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp, right? Any of these guys who are going to be good, don't get me wrong, if healthy, for another 2 or 3 years. But you're also going to get them the ball a ton. You're going to make Bryce Young fall in love with that guy. That's going to be who he develops all the chemistry with. And then 2 or 3 years from now, when the team's ready to compete and the defense is better and all this is ready, he's going to be looking around going, where's my security blanket? Where's the guy I'm supposed to grow old with? And Tedoroa McMillan's going, yeah, you threw me like 50 balls last year, man. We got some chemistry we got to build. Xavier Legette's going, I was returning kicks. Like there's nothing there for them to develop around. I talk windows a lot. Windows aren't just like Super Bowl windows or NBA championship windows. That is part of it. Part of it is making sure the windows of your best players align. Right? And that's why I always say a running back should be the last guy you add to a football team, because a quarterback's window could be 15, 20 years. A receiver's window could be 12, 14 years. Tight end's window could be 10. Offensive line, 8, 10. Running back, probably hoping for 6 or 7. Right? So if you can get everybody, all those Venn diagrams to overlap at the right time, that's how you build a team. The Rockets had a bunch of windows that were, started this year, last year, the year before that, or next year, and we're going to go for 10 or 12 years, and added a guy with 2 because they got impatient, and we've seen it so many times. And you would hope, watching the Thunder, watching the Pacers have the success, watching the Celtics. How did all three? The Celtics won last year. The Pacers were in the Eastern Conference Finals each of the last 2 years. The Thunder were in the Western Conference Finals each of the last 2 years and won the whole thing this year. If you look at those 3, what was the genesis of their roster building? Trading away a star. Sometimes multiple stars, right? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those guys were when they traded away Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, just absolutely beloved figures. The Pacers are in so many ways built around trading away Paul George and then trading away Domantas Sabonis. The Thunder, so much could be built around trading away Paul George. Now there's still teams sitting there going, yeah, we'll give $1 billion pieces for Kevin Durant's last 2 years. Doesn't make any sense to me. Unless somebody in the Rockets front office or ownership said, you have to win a title this year or else. Like, you have to counter with, listen, I might be able to make you a contender for this year. Or I can make you a contender from 2027 to 2037. Like, which do you want?
Well, look, I mean, on the flip side of it, right, there are so few opportunities to go out and acquire someone who has that level of scoring ability. And yes, like, his immediate impact is not going to be as long as if you had locked up Jalen Green and Dillon Brooks and kept them. But you have to consider, like, what is the ceiling of their ability? There have been a lot of questions about Jalen Green's efficiency as a shooter. He was not shooting at a great percentage, even though he does have a pretty explosive scoring ability. And Dillon Brooks is an incredibly solid role player with good defensive upside, but this kind of acquisition is kind of what elevates you to that next level. And I understand the idea of not wanting to, like, mortgage your future, but at the same time, like, how many opportunities do you have to do something like this while giving up ultimately, like, not that much for someone of KD's caliber?
I mean, as far as trading for former MVPs, you've only had the option to trade for late career Westbrook, late career Harden, late career Durant, late career, I know he's not MVP, but late career Chris Paul, late career Paul George. Like, these opportunities come around more often than you think. And you rarely see the good franchise making them. I mean, the Suns trade, like, they had opportunity to trade for a much younger, much more fresh Kevin Durant, and that didn't work out well. And they paired him not with Alperen Şengün, they paired him with Devin Booker.
Well, let's not disrespect Alperen Şengün. That dude is a baller.
And he's 22. Jalen Green's 23. I'm not saying he will, and I don't know Jalen Green like the dude. Wouldn't be the most outlandish thing in the world for a player to develop a three-point shot at 23 years old. Especially if he's shown the ability to score, 22, 23 points per game in the NBA already. So my point is, Panthers, don't mortgage your future for a win-now player. Please don't. Don't get greedy. Let it rock. We have Monday Soundoff coming up, and I'm looking forward to this one. The question is simple. What athlete did you see before they were great? What athlete did you see before they were them? Could have been high school. Could have been at a pickup game. Could have been in the minor leagues. Could have been any situation. And we want you to call in with your examples. We'll open up the phone lines right now. Heister Automotive Group Hotline, 919-860-5326. I'll give you some of mine, some players I saw before they were them. But we want to hear from you mostly. 919-860-5326. Who did you see and what did you think of them before they were great? 919-860-5326. Call in now. We'll get to yours coming up next.
Duke's Cooper Flag will go number one.
Now Cooper across midcourt, takes it inside, and throws it down with two hands.
But where will the rest of his teammates land in the pros?
Knipples open, good again!
And don't forget Carolina's Drake Powell.
Powell hangs in the air, gets the bucket to go, and James is called for the foul.
The 2025 NBA Draft, Wednesday and Thursday night on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50. Add any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Victoria Vodnecker here from 99.9 The Fan with Dr. Brenna Houlihan from Wake Med. She's here to educate us a little bit more on Men's Health Month. Now, we've been talking about colonoscopies and whether someone is considering or not to have colorectal cancer screenings because they're experiencing some irregular symptoms. What are those symptoms that people might see that you would recommend they seek care for?
So some of the symptoms you see is really just change in your bowel habits. You know, you go from being sort of regular one way, it gets skinnier, it changes in consistency. That's something to keep in mind, and as well as bleeding. However, most colon cancers are asymptomatic or without any symptoms for a very long time. So even if you're not having those symptoms, make sure you stay within those screening windows and make sure you're getting those screening colonoscopies, even if you don't have a single symptom.
Wow, really important to pay super close attention to certain things. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Houlihan. And if you have any questions or want to find a provider local to you, you can visit wakemed.org.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Tuesday, June 24th at Bank of America Stadium. Football legends collide at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Benfica and Bayern Munich. Angel Di Maria and Nicolas Otamendi taking on Harry Kane and Joshua Kimmich. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers the most important high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsor, First Carolina Bank. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are doing Monday Sound Off a little bit differently today. Not a lot of local sports going on to react to or to have strong opinions about from our listeners. So we're gonna, and we might do this throughout the summer if it works. So we're asking a question, open-ended. We want to hear from many of you, and the question for today is simple: give us the story of a player you saw before they were them. Okay, so a pro, a superstar, a future college legend, whatever it is, but you saw him in high school, or you saw him around the way, or you saw him on the blacktop, in the neighborhood game. And what'd you think? Did you know? Were you surprised, right? Was it one of those deals where, like, hey, when he was 14 years old, we knew he was going to be NFL Hall of Famer? Or was it, when I saw him make it to the league, there was no way I thought that kid would get there? So we've opened up the phone lines already. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Heister Automotive Group Hotline. We have two great ones, if the names are true here, already lined up. And we have more in the queue as well. But call in now, 919-860-5326. We'll start with Mike in Wake Forest. Mike, thank you very much for calling in. Who did you see before the rest of us knew this one was great?
Hey, appreciate you taking my phone call. The one I'm calling about was Vince Carter at the Beach Ball Classic in Myrtle Beach. We used to go down there all the time with my dad, and, man, Vince put on a show. Looked like the next Michael Jordan, and I couldn't wait to see him in Chapel Hill. But Vince Carter, and also got to see Rasheed Wallace, Kenny Anderson, Antoine Jameson. So many great guys down there at that Myrtle Beach basketball classic. But Vince Carter's the one that really stood out in my mind. He was just such a freak athlete.
He underrated, one of the greatest high school highlight tapes of all time. Everyone always says, like, Austin Rivers or some of these other guys. His first of all, his arms were 12 feet long, and the dunking was unreal. Did he stand out amongst those other guys you mentioned? Like, do you remember him more than Rasheed or Kenny or any of those guys?
Oh yeah, I mean Vince, to me, like I said, he just looked like he reminded me of Michael Jordan. And I mean, as a kid growing up in the 90s, you know, I really thought, I mean, this can be the second coming of MJ, and he's still, in my opinion, the best in-game dunker of all time. So to see him in high school playing against high school kids was just unfair.
Right.
He was just killing everybody.
All right, Mike, appreciate it. Call back in anytime. I think you might really like this next caller. We have Glenn, and he's got one of the like trophy fish of I saw them before they were them. Which, by the way, everybody, that's the question for today on Monday Soundoff. What athlete did you see before they were famous, before everybody else knew they were great? You got a peek, and you got to see it. So Glenn, welcome to the show on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline. Who did you see before they were famous?
Thank you, Tim. The one I got to see was Michael Jordan.
That's a pretty good one. In what scenario? Where did you see him? What give us your thoughts, the details?
It was in high school. I was playing at New Bern Senior High School in New Bern, North Carolina. And, of course, Michael was playing in Laney, and we were actually on the junior varsity team.
So you played against MJ as a JV high school basketball player?
I played against him for 3 consecutive years, twice a year for 3 years in a row.
Give us the stats, right? Did you block his shot at all? Like when you're telling when you're at the happy hour, what's the MJ story you break out?
Oh wow, man, it's crazy. Now the first time that I got the opportunity to play against him, he had already scored like 40-some points in JV games already. I didn't see it or anything, but you know, the coach had came in and told us. And so when we played against him, you wouldn't say that, okay, you know, what you eventually seen that's who he was.
Okay, one more question before we let you go, and because we have others, but I could talk MJ early stories the whole time. Did you like see it in his eyes? Could you tell the competitor was in there?
Oh, definitely. The competitor was there. And, you know, he went, you know, as the years went on, everything just went up. And then it got to a point the next year that you knew.
Okay. All right. So it did happen eventually. Appreciate the call, Glenn. I am jealous of those memories that you have playing against MJ.
Thank you.
Let's go to Casey and Gardner's up next on the Heister Automotive Group Hotline. Who did you see before they were famous? 919-860-5326. Open for all of your calls. 919-860-5326. We have Casey and Gardner now. Casey, who did you see before they were them?
Iron Mike Tyson.
Okay, and what? Because he got famous at like 18, right?
That's when he was. He was Golden Gloves, New York State Golden Gloves Championships is Syracuse War Memorial.
And you were just there watching some fights, and did you walk away saying that guy's going to be heavyweight champion of the world?
Well, my cousin fought just before him. He was a heavyweight also. And he was in the novice, and Tyson was in the open division. And, yeah, it wasn't very pretty.
Did you like look away and miss the fight? He finished professional boxers in like 13 seconds.
Yeah, I wanted to watch the whole thing, and it didn't last that long.
All right. That's pretty cool. That's a good one. I was not expecting Mike Tyson as a call, so appreciate it, Casey. Call back in anytime.
I also have one more.
All right, go ahead. Let's hear it.
King Rice played high school right in my hometown in Binghamton.
You said
and got to see him.
You said Glenn Rice?
Play a lot. King Rice. King Rice.
Gotcha. All right. We got two for the price of one there. I'm just gonna throw out that the Mike Tyson one made my jaw drop more. But appreciate it, Casey. Thank you very much. All right, we got a lot rolling in now. Which one is up next, Max? I want to make sure we take these in order as they've been sitting there.
I believe Andrew will be next.
Andrew in Raleigh. Andrew in Raleigh is up next. Heister Automotive Group Hotline. Andrew, who did you see before they were them, and what were your thoughts?
My freshman year of high school was Anthony Rizzo's last year at high school. So we went to high school together, and I got to watch him play.
Same team, like same school. This isn't like a playing against situation. This is you were on the same squad?
Yeah, we were on the same squad. My brother and him shared a locker. Like we were in the same team.
So baseball, even the guys that get highly drafted, you're not positive out. What, like as a sophomore, did everybody know Anthony Rizzo is going to go be that guy?
Yeah, everybody knew. I mean, he was really good, and I remember we did a viewing party at Pasquale's Pizza to watch his draft tape in 2007, I believe, 2008, and the whole Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. And he dropped a couple balls, and that really slid him down in the ranks. And we thought, oh gosh, well, I guess he's crumbling under the pressure. It's not going to be worth much. And then boom, blew up, right? So.
Hey, Rizzo's a good one. I mean, if you end the curse, I imagine like just walking around with that guy in Chicago is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Andrew.
Absolutely.
This next one I'm very much looking forward to because I want to see another. Do you know what we're hearing? And the question of the day for Monday Soundoff is, what athlete did you see before they were famous, before the rest of the world knew they were great? We're getting some guys that were like they were famous very early. Like Vince Carter was a very highly drafted recruit. Mike Tyson was like heavyweight champion at 18, and we're seeing guys that saw him before those moments even broke. Scott and Apex, you saw someone that got famous very early. I'm very interested in the conversation here. By the way, everybody listening, call in 919-860-5326 with your stories on who you saw before they were famous. Scott and Apex, I want to hear yours. First of all, tell everybody who you saw before they were famous.
Tiger Woods.
Now,
so
yeah, go ahead. Give us the story. Give us the details. I'm a Tiger Woods nerd, so I'm looking forward to this.
I was going to say, before, to preface the story, I've been a golfer all my life. First, I was born in the early 60s. So in 1993, I was in Chicago living next to my neighbor who was a road killer. And he said, hey, do you want to go volunteer at the Western Open? Mm-hmm. I said, sure. What are we going to do? He said, I don't know. They'll tell us when we get there. So we went to the Western Open, and there was all this buzz about Tiger Woods. I'm like, well, who is this guy? I've never heard of him. I know all the big guys, right? Our job was to photograph.
All right, hold on, Scott. I want to hear this story, but your connection is breaking up a little bit here, so I'm going to put you on hold.
Okay.
And if you can, I don't know, get to a better area, whatever, work with Max, and we'll see if we can get that on. Because Tiger Woods Western Open, I believe that might have been his pro debut. But I want to stick around and hear Scott. So while you guys figure that out, we'll go to the next one. Mo and Bailey. Mo and Bailey, you are next up. Let me go ahead and hear who you saw before they were famous.
Julius Pepper.
All right, now in what context? Was he playing basketball, football? Were you watching that?
And that was my next thing. He's from the rival school that I went to, so we would all meet up at the park, play basketball on the basketball court. He was a monster. Football field, what he did at the defensive end in the NFL, you would never have thought he would have done that because he played mostly running back a lot. So imagine him coming through the hole then trying to be tackled by high schoolers.
Did you try to tackle him?
Oh, no. I didn't play football.
All right. But you hooped against him?
Yeah. We used to play ball almost every day at the park. Yes, sir.
And like you ever get caught in the post? I imagine, especially back then when people valued the post, he's just putting the shoulder and chests and knocking people down.
Oh no, I'm a short guy, man, so I know how to throw it down to the post, not get backed up in there, man.
Well played, Mo. Appreciate the call. Peppers is absolutely a good one of the best athletes of all time. Thank you for the call.
All right, no problem.
Let's go to Edward and Wendell here, just because there's some similarities. Edward and Wendell, thank you for the call. Go ahead and let us know who you saw before they were famous.
So my dad went to the same elementary school and was on the same Pee Wee football team as Julius Peppers, and my dad's sister, Julius Peppers and her were really good friends. So that's the one connection. So my dad just tells us me and my brother stories about him and Julius Peppers.
So how early, like, pass along a story if you can think of one. Was he that good as a Pee Wee football player?
I don't know. My dad just went to the same elementary school in Spring Hope, North Carolina, Southern Nash, and I think he was pretty good and played basketball. But yeah.
All right, Edward, thank you very much for calling in. Julius Peppers, that's a cool early sighting. Heaster Automotive Group hotline is open for your answers, your stories. 919-860-5326. Do we have Scott and Apex better hooked up here?
As good as he can be.
Okay, cool. We'll try one more time, Scott. Scott, give us the details on your early tiger sighting.
So, to recap, 1993, I'm at the Western Open in the Chicago suburbs and heard about Tiger Woods, didn't know anything about him. I was volunteering. My job was to Xerox scorecards as the players came around 18. Whether they started at 1 or 10, it didn't matter. I got a ton of autographs. Well,
okay.
I saw Tiger come in. He was finishing at 18, and he was way out in the fairway, and he put that thing within 5 feet. And I said, I don't know who this guy is, but he's going to be somebody. So when he came and gave me a scorecard, I said, how'd it go out there today? He said, it went, and it's golf. And I said, well, it's better than doing what I'm doing. And he just laughed and walked away.
All right. Hey,
but,
a brush with – so that's pre-pro Tiger, I believe. 93.
Yeah, he was at Stanford. Yeah.
He was at Stanford. All right, there you go.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
He won it a few years later.
Yeah, I'm probably a whole bunch of times. I love early Tiger stories. So thank you very much,
Thank you.
Scott and Apex. Next up, let's roll with, is Harvey next up on the list?
Harvey is next.
All right, Harvey on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. Who was your brush with a great player before we knew they were great? Who were you ahead of the curve on?
Phil Ford.
Phil Ford, that's a good one. By the way,
yeah, he went to the same school I went to.
Okay.
And when he was in the 10th grade, he was playing varsity. He was averaging over 50 points a game.
You know what? That's absurd. 50 points a game as a sophomore is
and
unreal.
then he went on to UNC.
Mm-hmm. And
Hill with Dean Smith with the four corners.
Yep, and went on to the NBA, and I believe he was a second overall pick.
Went on to the
NBA. I'm glad you
and
called in.
I knew that dude, but you won't believe it. That wasn't his best game.
What was?
Baseball, pitching.
Really? I had not heard that.
He had. We were playing Little League.
Mm-hmm.
He was throwing that ball so hard you couldn't even hardly see it. It looked like he was going to hit you in the face, and then all of a sudden the referee, he called strike.
I like it. Do you know Earl Reese at all from the sports shop on the Buzz, one of our sister stations?
No, I didn't. But Phil Ford was something. I'm here to tell you what.
Yeah, he hangs out with Phil. I'm gonna go ask him for baseball stories now. I didn't know that, so thank you very much for calling in.
And he was a pitcher and a half.
All right, I'll look into that now. Gave me a little homework assignment.
Buck Williams was right at his age too.
Buck Williams. All right, we'll pass it along. Appreciate it very much, Harvey.
Right. Yeah, man. Take care now.
Thank you. Heaster Automotive Group hotline open for your stories of players you knew or saw before they were great. The number 919-860-5326. Greg and Raleigh is up next. I do want to get to some of mine, but y'all are quite frankly one-upping me. I thought I was going to be name-dropping big names. We've heard Jordan, Tyson, Tiger. I can't beat some of these. Greg and Raleigh is up next. Greg, who did you see before everybody else knew they were great?
I saw Dirk Nowitzki. So I'm a military brat. And,
okay, I was going to say,
I was stationed.
I was going to have to ask if you were in Germany.
Over in Heidelberg, and at the time I was in high school, and we were playing this club team preseason and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, they have this big tall guy. Chances are he's going to go pro, and our center, he was pretty good at the time, and he was like, oh no, he's not dropping those numbers, because he was just looking at like the stats and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Long story short, he ended up dropping like 56, 20, and 6, and we were like, yeah, he's definitely going pro.
By the way, don't feel bad. There's a story about him doing that to like Scottie Pippen and Barkley, and Barkley on some, they were on some barnstorming tour or something, and Barkley reportedly told Nike, hey, tell him whatever he needs to get to Auburn, we'll make it happen. And he scored like 50 on him. So you guys are not alone there. Appreciate the call, Greg. Appreciate the call. Apparently, that's like Dirk in high school was just roasting people, which is, I mean, he's great in the NBA, but
that would make sense.
It would, but also like, I don't know. You think gangly maybe have to grow into the body a little bit. Apparently, he did not have that awkward stage. Kevin and Raleigh, very fascinated by this one. Kevin and Raleigh on the Heaster Automotive Group hotline. Who did you see before they were great? What athlete did you see before the rest of us knew about him? Kevin, are you there?
Did not have that awkward stage.
Kevin, I hear you listening to our radio station, but if you jump on the phone, you are live on the air. Going once, going twice. We'll put you on hold, Kevin, see if you can't figure that out, because the name you gave us that you saw before they were famous is a really cool name. So I want to hear your story, but we got to get you on the air. We'll go to one of our most loyal listeners next. Heaster Automotive Group hotline is open for all your stories in this vein. Who have you seen before they were famous, before they were great? We have Micah in Morrisville on the line. Micah in Morrisville, who did you see before the rest of us knew who they were?
I guess I don't know if he counts as famous, but he does in my book. It was DJ Horn, the star point guard for NC State, who led them to the Magic run. He was born and raised in Cary, and so elementary school, middle school, high school, just seeing him just grow into the basketball player he was. He took like our middle school basketball team to an undefeated run and like averaged like a triple-double, and everybody was like, dude, you're going to make it big time. And he was always just like super humble. And then he ended up just making it big time, like completely. Yeah. And now he's in Germany. So yeah, pretty sweet.
Absolutely. And really cool that he got the extra year of eligibility to come back and play for one of the teams in the area, because he bounced around a few other college teams before he ended up at State. So thank you very much for the call, Micah. As always, thank you very much for the call, Micah. Let's go to there are some big names here. Heaster Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326 for your players that you saw before they were famous. Is that Kirsten or Kirsten? Kirsten? Kirsten and Carrie. Did I get that right? Hi. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, you got it.
Kirsten, I want to hear the story behind this one. Who did you see before they were famous?
So I was neighbors with Tom Brady growing up all through high school. And he went to the all-boys Catholic school that my dad went to when he was younger. And we used to party together over across the street at our neighbor's house. He was a good guy then. He wasn't a huge partier, but definitely cool guy to hang out with and just progressed to where he is today. So.
Now, what was, like, for lack of a better term, and I don't mean this as an insult, was he normal?
Yeah, he was normal. I would say maybe more normal then than now, but definitely normal.
And was he Like, I assume since you were like neighbors, right? Are you going to like high school football games? Was he that obviously unbelievable, or was it kind of a slow burn for him?
No, really a slow burn. I mean, he didn't.
All right, you're breaking up a little bit, Kirsten, but thank you very much for calling in. We got a neighbor of Tom Brady growing up talking about going to the friend's house to party together. That wasn't on my expectations list for today. If you can one-up that, we definitely want to hear it. We were to the final handful of minutes here for our Monday Soundoff. Who did you see before they were great? Who did you see before they were famous? I believe Bob and Raleigh was next up on the list. Bob and Raleigh, thank you for calling in. Who did you see, and give us the details?
Yeah, so I'm from the Midwest up in northern Indiana, where high school basketball has always been such a big deal. But my earliest memory from like my elementary years was getting to see Sean Kemp play high school basketball, and just at the time, like hearing about it, and then like the local reporting of it. Once like I got to see him play, I went to Goshen High School, and he went to Concord, which was one of our rivals, and it was like unforgettable just to see as a young kid, just him dominate and dunk all over everybody, and he just continued to do that, as he grew up. But at that time, I mean, I think he had grown pretty popular as a young athlete, but it just took off. His career took off once he got into the NBA.
Did you play basketball?
I did not play.
Okay.
I was probably like 7 or 8 years old when he was playing, but we would do concessions, and like just getting to see the crowd, people would line up to get in, and
I've just heard legends of Kemp being the ultimate, like other people thought they were going to play in the NBA, and then they saw Sean Kemp at like 16 years old and went, oh, never mind. If that's what an NBA player looks like, then I am not going to play in the NBA because he was such a man-child early on.
Yeah, he was the Rain Man. I mean, there's probably lots of stories about it, or you can go back for the people that are younger that don't remember him, but he was pretty dominant.
All right.
But all the way from when he was in high school, I mean, they knew he was going to be a legend.
Thank you very much, Bob. We're gonna have to close. No new callers from this point on. If you're on hold, we'll get to you. But we're just running out of time, and I would seriously sit here and do this all day. So we'll go to Brady and Clayton. Brady, next up. Who did you see before they were great? Give us the details and the player.
Yeah, this is Freddie and Clayton.
Oh, sorry, Freddie and Clayton. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I used to work for an oil company, and this guy's daddy worked with me, and he told me that his son was playing. He was in high school and playing hockey, and his son, he had a good potential to be a pro hockey player, and so I got to meet him, and eventually his son became Michael Rupp, which if you watch the NHL Network, Michael Rupp is on the NHL Network.
Oh yeah.
And so I got to meet Michael Rupp before he made it to the NHL. And then, of course, he went and played for the New Jersey Devils, and he scored the winning goal in the Stanley Cup on Game 7, and New Jersey ended up winning the Stanley Cup.
That's a pretty good one. I was going to say I know him more as, like you said, as the broadcaster, but I also know he played for a bunch of teams, so that's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, and then my second one, now you're going to love this one. I went to a school in Chesapeake, Virginia, and I played high school there at Indian River High School.
All right.
And I went up there after I graduated from high school, of course, been out of high school, and I lived in North Carolina. And I went back up there, and my coach that I coached him, he was still coaching. And I was sitting there in the gym, and he said, Freddie, he said, I want to meet you. I want to let you meet this guy, this young kid. He's in 8th grade. He says, and this kid is like 6'8", 6'9" in 8th grade. And
there's one of two ways you're going here, and I think I know which one.
Yeah. So he says, this kid is going to be amazing. And, of course, he ended up getting to the high school at Indian River, and I used to go watch him there. And, of course, it was Alonzo Mourning.
Yep. Alonzo Mourning, I've spent some time in the Chesapeake area. He must have been the most obvious he's going pro high schooler of all time because nobody forgets seeing him in high school. Maybe it was the shoulders or something. I don't know. But he was one of those obvious ones, wasn't he?
But because I got to see him when he was only in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And, of course, I went to the same middle school because I used to play for the coach because I made the basketball team and played all the way from middle school all the way through high school. And then because that's when my coach told me, he said, I want you to meet him. This kid is man. And so it was a thrill.
Freddie, thank you very much for the call. We got to move on. We just got to go quickly here. Jonathan in Chapel Hill, you're up next. Make it quick just because we were running low on time. But who did you see before they were famous?
Hey, guys. Vladimir Guerrero Sr. in the 90s. He played for the Albany, Georgia Polecats at the Asheville. We had season tickets with the Asheville Tourists. At that time, you could bring in your own food. We had pizza, gave some of the Polecat slices. Of his own accord, he grabbed his Sharpie and signed our box, thank for pizza.
Oh, all right. So do you still have it?
No, my mom moved a bunch of times after then, and we haven't been able to find it.
I do know the only reason I know the Polecats is because there's a rookie card of Vladimir Guerrero Sr. I used to have where he was in the Polecats. So I actually know a little bit about that. I don't know. It's probably still in my mom's closet, my mom's attic. But either way, thank you very much for the call. That's a good one. And last one, bring us home, Pat in Durham. Who did you see before they were famous? Give us the story.
Quickly, actually, went to the Durham Bulls. I saw Bernie Williams because I'm a Yankee fan. I saw skipper Chipper Jones.
There you go.
And I saw Gerald Henderson, who played with Bill Mahar, Dawkins, and Allery. And just as a caveat, we were down at the ballpark and we saw him taping Bull Durham.
Oh, did you see Costner?
Yeah. No, I didn't see Costner. I didn't see the stars, but we showed up and they were taping the movie.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you very much for the call, and have a good one. Call back in anytime. I could do that all day. That is literally one of my favorite conversations to have. We have to hit this break here, but when we come back, Max, I want one from you, and I'll give you one or two of mine as well before we move on to some hockey talk. Stick around. The Drive coming up next.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Hey, let's take the dogs hiking.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
Let's dig out all the paint supplies and go ahead and start bickering while we're trapped in a room with paint fumes.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at preserveservices.com.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and more. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning? RV wins! Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast? RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates, other insurers, not available in all states and situations.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to everybody that participated in a Monday Soundoff. We'll try to be creative with the questions we ask during this kind of slow period in the calendar to drum up some good conversations. Max, did you have a good one? Monday Soundoff as far as who you saw before they got famous? You might still be too young for this conversation.
Yeah, I have an okay one. I don't have a great one. Growing up in Winston-Salem, my dad has worked extensively at Wake Forest. He still does sideline reporting for Wake football. But
oh, nice.
I would say probably the best player I've seen play before they became kind of notable is John Collins.
Yeah, basketball player.
Yeah, Wake Forest. 2016-17, to this day, and I was in high school, I was a really big Wake Forest fan, but I still believe this to this day is that season he probably should have won ACC Player of the Year. Instead, it went to Justin Jackson at UNC because they were the best team, but John Collins was one of the most efficient players in the country that year and has turned that into a pretty substantial NBA career. And he's playing in Utah, but
very lucrative.
Very, very solid player. He's developed a bit of a three-point shot, too, which he did not used to have in college. But that's probably the best player I've seen.
With those springs in his legs. All right, cool. That's a good one. I'll give one of mine just to name drop. I'm fortunate enough to have played with some guys, but the best player I've ever played with, and it used to elicit more jokes, but there's been some documentaries that have come out that have made it more acceptable. Manti Te'o. I played with Manti in 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade, football and at times basketball. Here's the way I'll tell the story. He makes me feel like I was a pretty good talent evaluator in like 7th grade because you could watch him play like pickup football and go, oh, that guy's going to the NFL. And then he ended up being a finalist for the Heisman. But we know all the extracurricular stuff that happened. But I'll again, this one's not a name drop because he comes on the show. But I distinctly remember telling my cousin, Mike Glennon, who also went to play in the NFL, like, my buddy Manti is unbelievable. Like, this dude is going to be in the NFL. And, of course, Mike was here in Virginia, and he's going like, all right, yeah, you got some linebacker in Hawaii that's going to be – because I was living in Hawaii at the time – that's going to be, like, all everything. And then the first time that remember Rivals? You probably don't. Rivals was 247 at the time, came out with the rankings for our high school class. I got a call from Mike, and he went, so your boy Manti's legit. And I was like, what do you mean? He said, he's the number 2 recruit in the country. I was like, I've told you since I was in 7th grade.
Told you so.
Very little of this surprises me. I'm actually, who's number 1? Because I can't imagine somebody better than this dude. And then he went on to do everything. And if he doesn't have the off-the-field stuff, I stand in this belief that if he doesn't have the ups and downs that come with getting catfished, he's Brian Urlacher. Yeah. He's Derek Brooks. He's going into the Hall of Fame. He was that good of an athlete, and he could have done any sport he wanted to.
Also, this doesn't like really count, but I remember when I was 14 and the Hurricanes drafted Sebastian Aho, and the first clip they showed was him scoring the Game 7 Finnish League winning goal as a 17-year-old. I was like, okay, this guy's going to be sick. And then he turned into the franchise center. So
there you go.
I don't want to take credit for that, but I just know, I was in on the ground, like very ground floor. I was following him playing in Finland like the next year. He had like a point per game. I was all in from the very beginning. So just want to put that out there.
So you're Team Aho. That works. Hockey. Well, the thing is, I grew up outside. Again, I'm mixing this up. Grew up outside Jersey in Jersey outside Philly in my younger years. It was like peak Lindros years. So, I mean, that's all anybody talked about was Lindros. There's no real getting in on the ground floor of that. Although he was hurt a bunch, and I was still kind of cool with it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. You know what? Let's just keep doing this because we only have a couple minutes left. There's not enough time to dive into contract stuff. I'll give you another one. This one's not special. Like, this isn't a name drop. When I was in Jersey, we used to go to the Trenton Thunder, which is minor league baseball. At the time, they were in the Red Sox organization. They've been in, like, every team's organization at some point. But we used to go, and I was, like, 4 or 5 years old, very young, which meant I was barely paying attention to the baseball. But I was at the age where, like, funny words amused me. So guess which word I stuck to? Nomar. Nomar Garcia Parra. That's such a fun thing for, like, a 5-year-old to say. So I latched on to Nomar. We had no idea if he was good or not. He was playing shortstop for the Thunder. And then a couple years later, he was, like, the best hitting shortstop in the American League. And it was, whoa, that's Nomar from... when I used to get my ice cream in a upside down helmet, that's Nomar, and it became a thing. So I was very excited that as a 5-year-old, I just remembered his name because Nomar. And I thought it was funny that it was the Red Sox because everybody in Boston doesn't pronounce their R's, so they got Nomar Garcia Parra, and it just became Nomar Garcia Parra.
It was ironic.
Like no way to say that name right.
I did see. This was obviously he was established at this point, but. Daisuke Matsuzaka was doing a rehab stint in Single A once when I was a kid.
Counts.
And Winston-Salem had I think at the time they were still the Warthogs in the, the Carolina League? Single A, yeah. High A. Yeah. But they're playing the Salem Red Sox. And we got to go see Daisuke play a game in Winston, which was pretty cool.
I'm not going to put this person on blast, but I was a little upset they didn't call in. Somebody on I'll just say social media, direct messaged me, so it's private, and said, when they heard what we were doing on Monday Soundoff. This was before we opened the phone line, so we had the full half hour. He said, I had a friend text me and say I should respond to your show. I played against Michael Jordan in his high school years. I didn't just play against him. I have been tabbed the unsung rival of Michael Jordan.
Whoever you are, if you're listening or if your friend is listening, tell this guy to call in.
He said, I'm trying to get your call-in number. I immediately responded with the call-in number. We don't hide it.
Maybe he was one of the ones that called right after you said we weren't taking anymore.
I'll tell you his name. So if this person calls in and tells Max his name, we'll get you on. But if you call yourself or if somebody has called you, the unsung rival of Michael Jordan.
The Michael Jordan stopper.
Of his high school years. I want to hear from him. That one exists. And then somebody said they in... I guess elementary school beat Chris Paul in a times tables competition.
Oh wow!
And then years later got him to sign an autograph.
I went to the same middle and high school as Chris Paul.
Really?
Not at the same time, obviously, but.
Did you have the same homeroom teacher?
I don't know. My dad did. He did cover him in high school and college over there in Winston though. So I have met him before. Good guy. Wish he would win a championship.
Oh, jeez, good guy. Let me bring up his biggest professional
I want that for him. As much as he not as much as he wants it for himself, but I really want to see him win.
I agree. Just hopefully, so he doesn't have to answer those questions for the rest of his life.
Hopefully he goes to like a contender this year. Maybe the Thunder can bring him back.
Every time I hear Shaq on the NBA show go, "Get out of here, Charles. You don't have a ring," I think of like Chris Paul. I'm going like, just get one. So you don't have to deal with Shaq for the rest of your life. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Listen, everybody's talking about, that's the question we asked. Who did you know before it happened, before it popped? Well, guess what? Can't always predict it. Sometimes you see the high schooler, you're like, that guy's going to go pro. Never even makes it to college. Just like the mortgage market, right? The rate. Sometimes you're like, oh, it's going to go down in a month. Don't get your mortgage now. It's going to go down. Then it goes up. Or the reverse, right? Get it now. It's about to go up. Lock in your mortgage now. So you lock it in. You pay costs and fees. You do it. Then it goes down. You feel bad. You avoid all of that if you call up Gordon Miller and Miller Lending and ask for a no-cost loan. That's no closing costs. That's no third-party fees. That's no surcharges. None of that extra. Zero means zero. And because you're not paying any costs and fees, if rates go down in a month, if rates go down in a year, refinance. Do it again. No problem. right? You're not going to take a whole bunch of money out of your pocket because there's no cost, no fees. You just get the lower monthly rate, no questions asked. And if rates go up in a month, even if you thought they'd go down, well, good. You already locked in your rate. You still have the lower rate that you already had. It's a way to protect yourself against the unpredictable. Because everybody that called in today, right? I saw them, and I knew they were going to be great. They were unbelievable. Fact of the matter is, none of us did, or else we would have become their manager, right? When I saw Manti in 7th grade, I knew he was going to be a pro. But also, I could have just been a really, really good 7th grader. The volatile market is unpredictable, just like life. Prepare yourself by calling Miller Lending. The number to call, 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We'll be back with the starting 5 after this. Don't go anywhere. It's Men's Health Month, and WakeMed wants to remind you to protect your skin to reduce your risk for skin cancer, sunburn, and premature skin aging. For any exposed skin, sunscreen should be worn. It should be broad spectrum to fight UVA and UVB rays, an SPF of 30 or higher, and be water resistant. Apply sunscreen 15 minutes prior to exposure and every 2 hours. So whether you are headed out to mow the lawn or to get in 18 holes, make sure you are covered, literally. For more information, visit wakemed.org.
Pack your summer with wonder and wild fun at Busch Gardens. Explore 9 European villages. Race across 29,000 feet of coaster track. Become the beast and race above Bavaria on the all-new Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge. Now open. Make summer wonder-filled with high-energy shows, concerts, and fireworks every Saturday during Summer of Wonder from June 27th through July 31st at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, the world's most beautiful theme park. Save up to 50% on tickets, fun cards, and memberships during our 4th of July sale. Hurry, offer ends soon. Restrictions apply.
311 live in concert. The Unity Tour 2025.
Chill. Right on my side is the Eagle.
June 25th, Red Hat Amphitheater. With special guests, Bad Flower and Sitting on Saturn. Celebrating 30 years of hits, plus the brand new album featuring Full Bloom. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Presented by Live Nation.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. It's the hottest day of the year so far out there today. The heat advisory continues. Heat index values well into the triple digits. Tonight it stays very warm, clear skies, a low temperature of 77. Extreme heat warning in effect for Tuesday and Wednesday. Highs in the triple digits, heat index values up to 110, maybe even higher.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones up 374 points to 42,581.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the starting 5, and as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Somebody is finally naming names. Shout out to Wisconsin. And here is why. Wisconsin is suing Miami. Now, this isn't a state's suing. It's like Badgers and Hurricanes. You know what I mean? It is someone finally naming names and tampering allegations in college sports, which is something I've been asking for a long time. Was it 2 years ago? And it was right around the time they played NC State, which is why it was news to me that we brought up on the show. But Jim Mora Jr., UConn's head football coach, talked about how the players were being tampered with on his roster, and he had proof. And I went, perfect. You have proof. Show it. And he never did. And then a month ago, maybe a little bit more, ECU's head baseball coach tweeted this out. This is Cliff Godwin, ECU's head baseball coach. Our system is so broken. Broken in all caps. We have coaches at P4 schools, meaning Power 4 schools, texting our players directly who are not in the portal. And we have proof. Put an exclamation point. And we have proof. And I went, perfect. You have the proof. Boom. Screenshot. Tweet. Attach. We're there. Never named names. Well, the University of Wisconsin filed a lawsuit on Friday claiming that the Miami football team broke the law by tampering with a Wisconsin player, a first-of-its-kind legal attempt to enforce the terms of a financial contract between a football player and his school. All right, there's two main parts to this. Actually, I'm going to go three. First of which, part of me kind of proud that a Big Ten school is complaining about an ACC school pushing the boundaries. Right? Because the Big Ten and the SEC are always like, you ain't pushing, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Gotta do what you got. Gotta keep up. Well, now they're going, wait a second, the ACC, meh. So part of me is like, hey, good on you, Miami, even though I'm not the biggest Miami fan. Second part, tampering is an issue. Okay? It's real. It's one of the only, I think, negative side effects of the transfer portal and NIL is tampering, and it needs to be stopped. And it never is going to be fully stopped. What you need to stop are the official offers. Because the whole deal with the transfer portal, for me, is if players can leave, if they are allowed to leave when they think it's best for them, schools have to ensure they are providing an enjoyable experience for everyone in their program, even the guys that aren't and ladies that aren't playing. Right? If you want to keep your backup around, well, they're not staying around for playing time. We just call them a backup. So you have to provide some kind of value for them, whether it's an enjoyable experience, developing them as a player, developing them as a future pro, making sure they're aware that they're in the plans to start in the future, like the quality of life, something. You have to provide that value. If you are doing that, if you are providing a campus experience, a quality of life that players like enough to not put their name in the transfer portal, you deserve to have that player stay at your program. And if they're then being tampered with and it's like, hey, how does 1.2 million sound? How about 1.3? How about 1.3 in a house? How about 1.3 in a house and a car? How about 1.3 a house and a car, and we put your high school coach on our coaching staff? And it's like, I'm happy where I am, but I can't turn that down. Now you're talking about helping out my high school coach. So tampering is an issue and it needs to be taken care of. Now that people are putting names on it, do the investigation, find out if rules were broken, and if they were, punish them. If they were, punish them. Punish the person, the coach, the front office executive, whoever it was. Don't punish the players. And it's tough because I get mad when a coach makes a dumb decision and then they get like a postseason ban. And I'm going, wait, the players only have 4 years eligibility, 4.5, whatever it is. They don't get that back. And they had nothing to do with the coach sending a text message during a dead period. They had nothing to do with a coach tampering. So I almost want to make sure like that coach can be taken away completely, right? The coach can be the outlawed for 2 years, but then the players get to just keep going as normal because they're the ones with limited eligibility. But credit to Wisconsin. They put a name on it. Now Wisconsin has to have a squeaky clean history. Because I guarantee you, if Miami gets punished heavily, they will look into the closet of the Wisconsin Badgers for any skeletons, and if there's anything going on there, they will fight back with a vengeance. That was number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
This could be 2 and the game. Dickinson, Milam, and that's it! Tiger Town is Title Town again as the boys bring the 8th World Series title back to the Bayou.
College Baseball World Series wrapped up over the weekend. LSU, your national champions. I use this point often, but because we're sports fans, we often think that there's, in non-sports situations, a winner and a loser. Maybe it's because shows like mine do winners and losers. Maybe we contribute to that a little bit. But like when you're playing a game, somebody has to win, someone has to lose, right? When you're playing a football game, there's going to be a winning team and a losing team. Just how it is. But in other situations, you can have 2 winners. You can have 2 losers. You can have 4 losers. You can have 5 losers and 1 winner. You can have one winner and 5 winners, whatever. You can have all different kinds. In the first inning of the College Baseball World Series, potentially closeout game, which ended up being the closeout game between LSU and Coastal, there were 2 or 3 losers. All losers. Okay, the umpire lost that interaction. Should have kept a calmer head. Should have warned probably one more time. Okay? Kevin Schnall, the coach of Coastal, also a loser. Like, by the letter of the law, by the rules, he should have got ejected. He was ejected. The rule book would say it was a good ejection. Like, I always think of this because I don't know if it's in college, but in professional sports, at the end of every game, the umpires get grades, right? We never see them, but it's like you made this many good calls, this many bad calls. That umpire is getting a plus for that call because the rule is the head coach, if they argue balls and strikes, you give them a warning, and if they continue arguing balls and strikes at all, they're ejected. And if they argue beyond that, you add games to the suspension. That's the how-to, right? That's the open the frozen pizza. The instructions are on the back, preheat oven, like the obvious, very step-by-step instructions are what I just told you. And that's exactly what Coastal Carolina's coach did. Argued balls and strikes, ran out onto the field, was told that they were warned for balls and strikes, continued arguing balls and strikes. Now, the pitching coach getting ejected, I think that was probably more because one of the umps fell over and it was embarrassed and just wanted to, somebody else to grab and pull into the pool with him as he fell in. But nobody there was good, right? Like I said, the ump probably should have kept a cooler head, probably should have let baseball players be baseball players, understand it's a massive game and you don't want it to be decided potentially by a head coach being ejected in the first. The head coach has to keep your emotions in control. You're the coach. I would actually have less leeway with the coach than a player in that situation.
Yeah, you got to lead by example.
It's a bad call in the first inning. If you're the coach and you can't recognize it's the first inning, I can't risk getting thrown out here because my team needs me for innings 2 and on. That's an issue. So this is like, I'm not here to say the ump was right, the manager was wrong. I'm here to say both of you are wrong. Right? You remember that moment when, I don't know, do you have siblings?
I have an older brother, yeah.
Do you ever get in, like, arguments, scraps, little petty stuff? You ever remember that one? Both of you go to your room. It's like, whoa. We were arguing which one of us was right, and you're punishing both of us, huh? That's a backfire. That's what I would do, right? Ump would be going like, he said the thing about the strikes, and you're not allowed to say the thing about the strikes. And the coach would be tattling on the ump. He just got embarrassed. He fell over. Then I'd be going, listen to you. Both of you to your room. You're both wrong. Have some peace and quiet around here. That's number 4. Let's hit number 3. The upcoming Ryder Cup for the United States is going to be all about Keegan Bradley. Keegan Bradley, the captain of the Ryder Cup team, won the Travelers Championship over the weekend, which now makes it, I would say, more than reasonable for Keegan Bradley to select himself as one of the captain's choices of the Ryder Cup. Now, he didn't commit to doing it, but for those that are unaware, I'll break it down for you very simply. The Ryder Cup team for the United States is made up of 12 golfers. The first 6 are decided on Ryder Cup points. So the 6 highest in points are automatics. The next 6 are based by the captain. The captain gets to make choices, gets to make captain's picks. That's to, round out the roster, make sure, if somebody super fits the course or whatever, they're getting picked. And if an all-time great, happens to have a rough couple months or was hurt or something and didn't get the points, you still get him picked. Keegan Bradley has said he's not going to pick himself if he doesn't make it on points. He is not in the top 6 right now. But if you just counted out the top 12 in points, he is. And I'm going to put it this way. He has shown, Keegan Bradley, some of the personality traits that I think you need to be good at the Ryder Cup. Which, like vengeful, trash talk, competitive, things that aren't normally associated with golfers, which is why I think it was a mistake in years past not getting, oh my goodness, what's his name? The South Carolina guy, Kisner, not getting Kisner in the mix because he's somebody that enjoys the trash talk, right? Most of the time, if you're winning golf tournaments, you're blocking out everybody. It's me against the course. I'm just going to play grinding golf. Match play ain't that. Match play is, I think if I birdie this hole, I'll break him, and going for it. Match play is, now you have to put out that 2.5 footer.
I'm gonna need to see that.
Yeah, and then as soon as they get over the putt, actually, never mind, it's good, and walk to the next one. Like match play is a competitive, like me versus you sport. When golf is usually me versus everybody, so just focus on me. Keegan Bradley's showing some of the grit when he plays in New England, which he's from New England, and it becomes like everybody's with me, a team thing. He plays better. Travelers Championship, he's won it a few times up in New England. He's played pretty darn well since he was snubbed from the last Ryder Cup, which that's kind of the competitiveness I'm talking about, right? Like put the chip on your shoulder and then dare someone to knock it off. The win in the Travelers Championship over the weekend, chased down, stared eye to eye with Tommy Fleetwood, who is a European Ryder Cup stalwart and will be there once again. I kind of want Keegan Bradley to hold a press conference for the captain's picks and go like, first pick, I'm picking me. Who wants some?
Come and get it.
I'm out there first off the tee, first day, me. Who wants some?
So to provide some context, especially for people who might not be as plugged into golf with the Ryder Cup.
Give them the context so I can just yell on the screen.
The last playing captain in the Ryder Cup was in 1963, and it was Arnold Palmer. So it's been quite a long time since then. There's just a lot of responsibilities that fall on you as the captain in terms of figuring out your matchups and
running around and seeing who's playing well and figuring out who's going to play the afternoon.
Yep. You do a little bit of on course, like I don't know if it's necessarily coaching, but just kind of like motivation and stuff. So there is some talk that if he were to pick himself as a player, that maybe they would bring in somebody else to be like the captain on the administrative side. There have been some rumors that might be a certain big cat fellow who is awfully popular up around that area as well. And
Tiger has been a playing captain in the President's Cup.
Yes.
Which more recently, but I'm not pretending to say like if Tiger can do it, Keegan Bradley can do it. Those are two different beasts.
The Keegan, I think he should definitely be on the team. He's up to number 7 in the world in the official world golf ranking, in the data golf ranking, which includes live golfers as well. He's number 9. There's just not 12 better American players than Keegan Bradley right now, so I think he should be on the team.
Right now, his vice captains are Jim Furyk, Kisner, who I brought up, Webb Simpson, and Brandt Snedeker. I would guess Furyk would take on the when you're not here, I'll be the ipso facto captain. But either way, yeah, I've said this about the American team for a long time. Unless they're going to blow you out like they did a couple of Ryder Cups ago where they're going to win by 1 billion, they need more anger. They need more anger. I'm just going to say. And Keegan Bradley seems quite perturbed recently when playing golf. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us. Now Roslovic, who had his first of this postseason, a power play goal, helps lead this across. Robinson, he goes under the crossbar and scores! It's a good goal for Eric Robinson. His first of the postseason, and it's 3-0 Carolina.
So I know this news broke last week, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I loved the Eric Robinson signing by the Carolina Hurricanes. And there's a few different reasons for it. One of them is simply that I don't think you find players that good for $1.7 million average annual value that often. And I don't know if we need more reasons than that, but I'll give them to you anyway. The Athletic took net rating and I guess just divided it by dollars. They named the top 5 contracts in net rating per dollar on every team. Okay? So it's like bang for your buck, essentially, is what they were getting at there. Eric Robinson was the 3rd most efficient bang for your buck player on the roster, with 1 being Gostisbehere, because he's quite cheap and was 15th most in points amongst defensemen, and good on power play and all that. 2 was Jarvis, because Jarvis signed a, quite frankly, very team-friendly long-term deal and had another 30-goal season. 3 was Eric Robinson. 4 and 5, Stahl and Martinook. Just guys that are always going to be values at the dollar amount that they signed for. That was when he was making $1 million. Now he's making 1.7 per year for the next 4, and still young enough that you wouldn't expect huge drop-offs. He's 6'2", 211. That's a really good depth piece to have, and it allows you to do whatever you need to do, right? It allows you don't have to now save money because you need one more winger, or you don't have to rush Bradley Nadeau up because there's a spot on the roster for him. Now it's if Bradley Nadeau is ready, you can bring him up. But if not, Robinson's got it, right? If you want to go sign a super high-priced winger, cool, do it. If you want to go sign the super high-priced center, do it. But you don't have to, because you have 12 skaters that you trust at the NHL level. It gives them flexibility. By the way, I think some of those things need to happen that I just mentioned. They should happen that I just mentioned. But it's not a roster mandate, right? And it gives the player stability, which I always think is cool. And you know what? It's another player that wanted to sign long-term with Carolina. Oh, no one wants to play here, except for seemingly everybody that gives it an honest shot at playing here. Everyone except Mikko. And Jake Gensel, I believe, wanted to, but there was a money element, and they couldn't get there quick enough, and then Florida doesn't have income tax, and on and on. But it does seem like the players that show up in Carolina, give it an honest shot, try to buy in, try to fit in, usually end up wanting to sign long-term deals. Usually. What number was that, 2? Let's hit number 1.
Go 1! And that's it. The first title of the OKC era is complete. One of the youngest rosters in recent memory has just completed one of the finest seasons in NBA history. The Oklahoma City Thunder have their first championship, and they're the 2025 NBA champions.
Yeah, so the Thunder are NBA champions. And we're going to start there for a few reasons. One, because it's got to be a bummer to be on the Thunder and go accomplish everything that you've ever dreamed of. You won an NBA championship. If you're Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you woke up, you were the MVP. The finals MVP. You led the league in scoring. You're an NBA champion. And everyone's like, what are we going to do about Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles tear? So we're going to focus on the Thunder for a second here. And do you know what is the craziest thing about the Thunder winning the championship?
What?
They have the 15th and 24th pick on Wednesday. They have 2 first-round picks on Wednesday.
And their lottery pick from last year didn't even play a single game.
And their lottery pick from, I didn't even know that, but now that you say it, it makes sense.
Nikola Topic.
They also have the 14th pick in the second round. And we could go on and on. In the next year's draft, they got a bunch. This is a team the reason I'm so excited about the Carolina Hurricanes is because they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they still have all of these ways to get better. The Thunder won the NBA championship, and they still have all of these ways to get better. They have the ultimate luxury in the draft this year, which is they can draft purely for the player they think will be best 3 years from now, no matter what it's going to take for them to get there. Right? If it's a player and you're like, well, they're really good, but they're raw, they're going to play in the G League, or we're going to leave them overseas, or they're going to be on the bench for a while, they got to get stronger. Whatever it is, they can do it because they have an NBA champion returning team. Hey, you know what? We should take the whatever I said, 14th and 24th, trade up and get a guy in the late lottery. They could do that too. 15th and 24th. You don't think 15th and 24th could get you to like 10th? Probably could. Like they have every option at their disposal. It is absurd what you can do finding the value that nobody else is interested in. It became for about 5 or 6 years, first round picks were just currency. They were dollar bills, right? I trade my star for 5 first round picks and a couple pick swaps. That way I can take 4 first-round picks and a pick swap and go buy a star, and then I can go take this and pass it over there for the same thing. I need somebody to take this high-priced cap hit off of my roster. I'll give them a first-round pick with it. Here you go. And at some point, with everyone passing around, it's like a card game, right? Everybody's passing quickly. Like, ever play Spoons or Pig or anything like that, where you're just passing fast? At one point, the Thunder just stopped passing. And every time a first-round pick was passed to them, they just kept it. They just kept it. And it became Chet Holmgren. And it became Jalen Williams. And it became the other Jalen Williams. And it just kept becoming all of these good players. And they kept holding on to them. And before you looked, everybody else had bought and sold stars 10 times. And they were just sitting there with a bunch of players that they drafted and developed into good players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who they traded as a traded for as a tag on to a bunch of first-round picks. And they still have a bunch more in the near future. It's when nobody else was looking for picks as value, they were just treating them as currency. They just stockpiled them. And now they're set up to be extremely successful. And with every one of these picks, whether it's the first-round pick from last year, one of the first-round picks they have this year, a second-round pick, a first-round pick next year, or the year after, with every one of those they hit on, that frees them up to not give huge money to one of their veterans who will be looking for their second contract about that time. Right? They're going to pay Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They're going to pay Chet. They're going to pay Jalen Williams. Outside of that, as guys look for more money, as long as they continue to draft well, they'll be able to say, thank you for your contributions. We've greatly appreciated you here on the Thunder. But we got a young guy that's still cost-controlled that we're going to let take those minutes, and we're looking forward to what you do on a max contract for the Raptors or whoever else you're going to go sign with. Now, having said that, Tyrese Halliburton popping his Achilles was kind of a bummer. We really didn't get the finale, the Game 7 that we were hoping for.
It was a huge bummer.
Because Halliburton gets hurt, and the Pacers are still ahead at half. That is enough for Pacers fans to say, yeah, you won, but the only reason you won was because Halliburton ruptured his Achilles. And there's no real good response to that. So, I mean, even after he was hurt, we were ahead at half. He's good at least to keep a hat. It's like, gosh, there's just enough sense there that we're never really going to fully finish this conversation, are we? And that's a bummer. Now, I do ask that we don't pass around the do you know what actually was the most annoying part of the slow motion replay over and over and over, not just on the broadcast, but on social media of Tyrese Halliburton? For some reason, it became like, well, let's also post slow motion replays of Kevin Durant's Achilles popping from a couple years ago, and also Jason Tatum's, and also Klay Thompson's from a couple. It's like, I don't want to see any of these. I don't like watching people get hurt. Does that make me weird? I mean, the closest I'll say to it's like fun watching people get hurt is like the old America's Funniest Home Videos, groin shots. That's the only time it's funny. It's not none of. I don't know why we had to watch every Achilles tear in the history of the world 7,000 times last night collectively as a basketball fandom. I know Achilles injuries, and by the way, Achilles injuries are the worst. I'm terrified of them. Every time I run upstairs, I'm like, oh no. Okay, we're good. Apparently the rehab is awful. One of my really good friends popped his a year ago. You got to be on the scooter for a while. It's not fun at all. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'll tell you what is fun. Going to Bailey's Fine Jewelry and the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Go to the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. Just walk around. See what you fall in love with. See what luxury and or utility kind of sport timepiece speaks to you. Walk into Bailey's Fine Jewelry, Raleigh's Village District location. If you're drawn all the way left, my son calls it the Moon Room because that's where the Omega watches are in the Omega boutique, and they have the Moon watch. They have the Speedmaster there, but there's also a big kind of poster of the moon. If you're drawn there, don't fight it. Go check out the Omegas. They're awesome. Just a little bit to the right of that room, you're going to see the Glashütte Originals. You're going to see first of all, so many really, really cool watches there. You're going to see the Blancpains, the dive watches that are the granddaddy of them all, the 50 Fathoms. If you're drawn there, don't fight it. Go check them out. Put them on. Feel powerful. If you're drawn to the right, there's going to be Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. You walk in there, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Pre-owned and vintage Rolex. Pre-owned and vintage Cartiers. The Cartier Tank. Last time I was in there was a beautiful pre-owned and vintage Cartier tank. There's the Hamiltons, which are in a whole bunch of movies. They're on superhero wrists in sci-fi movies. You're going to see the G-Shocks if you're into being a little bit more rugged. The Norcanes, which are an NHL PA and NHL official watch. There's so many. Let them pick you. Walk around and let them pick you. Whichever one you're drawn to, don't fight it. It's all at the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. When you're there, or you can check them out online, by the way, baileybox.com. But when you stop by, make sure they know you heard about it right here from me, Tim, on 99.9 The Fan. At the moment, we need some numbers game contestants. Do we have the same prize as we did last week, or has that been updated?
I believe this is the right prize.
All right, there we go. 919-860-5326. Call in to play the numbers game. That's 919-860-5326. I promise we'll have a really cool prize. I'm going to try to double check to make sure that's the right one. But I promise we'll have a really cool prize. And of course it comes with the luxury, the prestige of being a numbers game.
Wait, we've got the prize. 1 free hour of tee times at X Golf.
1 free hour of tee times at X Golf. We talked a lot of golf today, so hopefully that strikes your fancy. 919-860-5326. Call in now. We need 2 contestants. One of you will leave with an hour of free golf at X Golf. Numbers game coming up next. WakeMed Brain and Spine wants to stop strokes in their tracks. If you think someone is having a stroke, use the acronym B FAST and assess these functions. B, balance. Do they have trouble walking? E, eyes. Are they having trouble seeing? F, face. Does their smile droop? A, arms. Ask the person to raise their arms and notice if one drifts down. S, speech. Is it slurred? And T, time. It is important. Call 911 and get to the hospital as quickly as you can. To check your stroke risk assessment, visit wakemed.org.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Let's rent e-bikes and have a picnic.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
We need to fix the gutters. Let's make 6 trips to the hardware store and still end up with leaky spots.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at preserveservices.com.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE-certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize for today is 1 free hour of tee time at X Golf. The contestants for today, Isaiah in Wake Forest and Clay in Willow Springs. As always, we will ask the same question to both contestants. And Max will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first, as we so often do on Mondays. Isaiah in Wake Forest, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, perfect. As we so often do on Mondays, the question will be, what was the highlight of your weekend? This past weekend, what was the highlight? But because we're a sports show, it has to be related to sports somehow. So sports related, what was your highlight?
Well, I would say the NBA Finals, but it didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to. So I guess I'll just say the College World Series. I mean, that was pretty fun to watch. I wish my Heels had made it, but it was still fun to watch.
All right. We'll lock in with there. We'll see if that's the answer that gets chosen. Clay in Willow Springs, are you there?
Yep.
What was the highlight of your past weekend? But because we are a sports show, keep it sports related.
Along with the College World Series, I would say the golf tournament, Travelers, was a pretty epic finish.
All right. 2 answers locked in, kind of similar, but Max, can you were they different enough for you to make a decision?
It seems to me like Clay maybe has done his research. He knows I'm a big golf guy, so I'm going to have to go with Clay because that was a pretty epic finish at the Travelers.
I had a feeling that was how it was going to go. Every once in a while, this one isn't it, by the way. I think Clay was actually watching the golf. But like Dennis is our producer most of the time. Sometimes someone will just randomly go like, the Pittsburgh Steelers were active, and I'm just like, do you know he's a Steelers fan? You're just absolutely catering to it?
I didn't know Dennis was a Steelers fan.
He is. Well, now you know if you're ever in the numbers game, just give an answer about the Steelers, and he usually picks you. So Clay in Willow Springs, you'll get to go first. Isaiah in Wake Forest, don't worry, you'll have your chance. You just have to hold on there for a second. Clay, are you ready to pick a category?
Yep.
All right, the categories are NFL players with late June birthdays, NFL players who finished in the top 10 of Rookie of the Year voting but did not win Rookie of the Year, NBA players that have multiple career triple-doubles and are still active players, or NHL Hurricanes only. That's your final category choice.
Let's go NFL rookies.
Okay, these are all players that have been in the top 10 of Rookie of the Year voting but did not win Rookie of the Year. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock, 1 pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Bo Nix, Denver Broncos.
10.
Correct. Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit Lions.
90.
Incorrect. Puka Nacua, Los Angeles Rams.
10.
Incorrect. Aiden Hutchinson, Detroit Lions.
97.
Correct. Miles Sanders, Philadelphia Eagles.
26.
Correct. Jameis Winston, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
10.
Incorrect. Puka Nacua, Los Angeles Rams.
17.
Correct. Jameis Winston, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
8.
What did you say?
I said 8.
Nah,
That's not right.
That's not going to be right, which makes me feel better because I think it was after the buzzer anyway. But you got 4 out of 5. You got Bo Nix with 10, Aiden Hutchinson with 97. Puka, we would have accepted 17 or 12 because he has switched 12 to open it up for Devontae Adams. Miles Sanders, 26. You got that one. Jameis Winston with the Bucks were number 3. That's the number we're looking at if you're playing at home. But 4 out of 5, very solid number. A good start to the week. We'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and sit on hold. That brings us to Isaiah in Wake Forest. Isaiah, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players with late June birthdays, NBA players with multiple career triple-doubles that are still active players, or NHL Hurricanes only.
He stole my category, so I'm probably cooked, but I'll do the other NFL category.
All right. Not super confident heading in, but hopefully you can spin that around. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You do need all 5 for the win. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. John Elway, Denver Broncos.
17.
What was that?
17.
Incorrect. Will Levis, Tennessee Titans.
4.
Incorrect. John Elway, Denver Broncos.
1.
Incorrect. Will Levis, Tennessee Titans.
7.
Incorrect. John Elway, Denver Broncos.
5.
A.J. Brown, Philadelphia Eagles.
11.
Correct. Chad Pennington, New York Jets.
26.
What was that?
27.
It was incorrect. Yeah, you know what? Would you have done better in the other category? Well, we may never know, but that one was a struggle. John Elway, 7 with the Broncos. Will Levis, 8 with the Titans. You got A.J. Brown with 11. Chad Pennington, 10 with the New York Jets. That's what we were looking at if you're playing at home. Unfortunately, not enough for the win, but hopefully you had some fun.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Can I just say, people not knowing John Elway's number 7 makes me feel very old. That was like, that might as well have been Michael Jordan 23 when I was like, man, not knowing John Elway's 7. Clay in Willow Springs, you're the winner. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You knew John Elway was number 7, right?
I did.
All right, good. You won yourself an hour of tee time at one free hour of tee time at X Golf. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Go ahead and stay on the line. Max has some info he needs to grab from you to make sure you get your prize. But like I said, congratulations. Man, the numbers game is awesome. I love the numbers game. I hear about it from listeners all the time that they enjoy playing along and they have a good time. There are more than a few moments, like a month, where the numbers game just makes me feel old. Where there's a player, there was one not long ago where they didn't get Allen. This was a long time ago. This is probably 9 months ago. They didn't get Allen Iverson number 3. And I did the same thing I just did, right? Like, oh my gosh, you didn't get Iverson number 3. And he went, oh, sorry, I'm not good with the old timers. And I went, there's no way. But yeah, to them, they were born like while Iverson was, post MVP in Philly. What do you do with that? But not knowing John Elway 7, that was one of the more popular jerseys, like walking around like elementary school when I was in elementary school. That, Terrell Davis, that whole team, they were good. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There are just 31 days. I guess we could call that a month. 31 days could be a month. There's just 1 month until training camp for the Carolina Panthers. Our question of the day is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. You maxed out on credit cards? Maybe you're struggling with high interest debt. You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client recently got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, here's the thing. Your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are
unsportsmanlike.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are so difficult. I don't want to take away anything from any other sport, but having covered hockey, the mental, physical, emotional toll it takes, it is so rigorous. To be able to get there 3 years in a row and win 2 is remarkable. Make no mistake about it, this is a dynasty and they're not going anywhere.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon, you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Look for Bluebell ice cream at your neighborhood Food Lion.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like fences. A house with a big yard and a white picket fence was always the dream. But then you saw the price to install a fence and you're wondering if the color is driving the price up. Nobody ever dreams of a beige or a gray picket fence, right? So maybe those fences are cheaper. But no, they're not. Then you remember that switching your home and auto to Progressive could save you hundreds and make all your dreams of a fence come true. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Hey, girl. Haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime. And Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know, my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durley Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Hey, Max. You want to give us the insight into choosing this song coming out of break?
I just love Michael McDonald.
Have you seen the movie starring Steve Carell about being 40 years old?
I have seen that movie.
There's some solid Michael McDonald jokes in there. I got to make sure with that particular movie that what you can say on radio.
Oh, no,
I
know what scene you're talking about. But that's
I hear
they're
Yamo
referring to
Be There
Be
one
There.
more time.
Yamo Be There is the song they're talking about, though.
There's some Michael. Anyway,
I love Yamo Be There as well. Don't be surprised if one of these days I'm playing that one too.
All right, you and Graham have the two most unique, and I'm saying this complimentarily because I also have I think a unique outlook on music. But for your age group, I'm sure there's not a ton of Michael McDonald diehards.
Somebody's got to carry the legacy on.
Do they? Does somebody have to?
I think so.
Okay. All right.
I think so.
All right. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 31 days until training camp. We're asking one question every show until training camp about the Carolina Panthers. And today's question is, how important is it that the Panthers are the 7th best at treating players' families well? And this stems from an article on ESPN.com. ESPN.com, right now you can go read the article. And it's essentially on both ends of the spectrum. There was an NFLPA Players Association survey, anonymous player survey, And one of the questions they asked was about how well the families of the players are treated. And the article is all about the best and the worst. The best, the Minnesota Vikings. A+, number one, best. The worst, Cincinnati Bengals. They're in Cincinnati, and they don't even have a place indoors for you to meet your family after the game. Let alone most places are giving you food. They're giving you like a lounge area where there's places for kids. And no, this one you had to walk outside to meet your family for home games. By the way, this is not a road game situation. So there's a bunch of little stuff like that. So I immediately read this article and I go, oh gosh, where are the Panthers? So I click on the survey link and I go back, and it's from months ago. So you go to the survey. 7th best. They got a B+. Oh, that's pretty good, right? That's not bad. Nobody's complaining about a B+. That's well above getting a degree. You're passing. And it got me thinking, should I have even cared? Does it matter, right? Because there is part of me that says the money should be seen on the field, right? Is it worth it to spend cash on a lounge when it could be spent on players, right? But this is a salary capped sport, right? So David Tepper can't say, well, I wanted to spend more on a left tackle, so I didn't spend on the blah, 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 because he can't. The salary cap prohibits your spending. According to Front Office Sports and Forbes and a few others, David Tepper is the second richest owner in the NFL. He is behind only Rob Walton and family, who own the Broncos. That is Walton Walmarts, so it's tough to catch them. But he's the second richest owner in the NFL. I talk about this often. If you are one of the richest owners in the NFL, it should be your mission to find ways that you can buy an edge. Because in a salary cap sport, you can't go full Yankees or Dodgers and just spend way more than everybody else because you have more cash. You can't do it. By the way, I always use those examples. The Mets do it too. I'm just a Mets fan, so I like to pretend like we do it the old-fashioned way by picking ourselves up by the bootstraps. But no, Steve Cohen bought the team and spends billions of dollars. So that this isn't baseball. You can't do that. So if you can find a way that your money can be a positive for your team on the field, I think you should do that. The Vikings, according to this article, believe the NFLPA survey every year, and particularly the assessments of how the team treats families and their facilities, has been key to them having very, very good free agent success. In 2024 and 2025, they've had some of the best free agency additions to their team of anybody, and they believe that the word of mouth around the league that, if you go to Minnesota, they treat you right. If they go to Minnesota, they treat your family right. Your kids are going to have a great time. They think it matters, even if it's almost subconscious. If it's like, all right, you got 2 offers, you got Minnesota, and, I'll go to Minnesota. They said they treat kids well, and I got 2 little ones. The things in this article were very detailed. Things like, during a game, is there a bathroom or concession stand that only players' families can use? Which feels so insignificant. I'm like, these spoiled brats given a D grade because they got to wait in line for concessions. But the article goes on to explain that based on the age of NFL players, right, mid to late 20s, early 30s, many of them have small children. Now, if you put the other parent, right? The wife with the kids, and the wife wants to watch the game, but they have to keep going up every time a toddler's got to use the bathroom. And on top of that, they got to wait in line for 40 dudes that have been pounding beers. It adds on up. Maybe there is something there, right? All you got to do is open up a bathroom down some corridor and you get all your players' families happy. Maybe there's something there. Or if you're David Tepper, put in a bathroom. Because you're worth $25 billion, right? Take the $100,000 and put in just a gigantic concession stand, bathroom, play area somewhere in the doldrums of the stadium. I'm spitballing here, but if it's going to help you get free agents and it doesn't count against the salary cap, do it. Having the best game day situations for players is one way that your money can show up. And again, there are owners out there that it would be a bigger undertaking. Now, I still think the most obvious ways, and this has been like my little pet scenario here, is coaches, staff, and play caller. If you are the second richest owner in the NFL and you don't have at least the second best training staff and the second best strength and conditioning staff and the second best play caller and the second best because you just go out there and buy the best, then you're not in it all the way to win. Like that stuff more directly is seen on the field. But in lieu of that, if all it takes to get an A+ on there is like give them a banquet hall with some burgers and dogs after the game to eat while they wait around for their family member to leave the locker room, I mean, you're worth $20+ billion. Will you even notice that money on the way out?
Just buy one of those variety packs of like Lay's chips at least.
Yeah, exactly. Give them Jamie Foxx does a whole like story. He tells it all the time of him throwing a party for like $300. He's like, I go get Kentucky Fried Chicken, put it on a nice plate. I go get a 2-liter of Pepsi, put it in a bowl of ice. Like just do the little, get the cups. Like do all of that. And if players give you an A for that, and then maybe you get one more free agent or over like one free agent every 3 years chooses you, like that could be a very important free agent. Am I looking too much into something? I don't know. You can read the article. It's on ESPN.com. The Vikings didn't seem to think it was overdoing it. And I'm not saying the Vikings are the team you want to mimic completely, but if you got the money, and I know it's easy to spend someone else's money, which is exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just looking at David Tepper and going, you won't notice it. But if you're worth 22, we'll call it 20. We'll get $20 billion. And just for home games, you had to throw a wedding, right? Like the most extravagant wedding that any of us have been to, like $100,000 for, 8 or 9 home games. I don't think it hurts you that much. And when I say throw a wedding, I just mean you need the chairs, you need the tables, and you need the food. You don't need a dance floor. You don't need anything like that. You just get it catered. And I'm assuming you know some people who know some people that could probably get it on the cheap. Maybe it costs you $50,000. Look at $500,000 for an A+ in the NFLPA rankings of how important or how well they're treating families. I don't know how, like the Bengals, their ownership must just be miserable. The fact that they can get dead last and be cool with it because they've done it year over year.
Well, it's not that surprising when you see some of the negotiations that have been going on with them, like Shamar Stewart and the situation with Trey Hendrickson.
I'm actually more surprised that guys like Burrow and Chase and all them have re-signed, and I know that's a money deal as well because you get more now and stability and everything and injuries. But if you have bad owners, it's really hard to win. If you have bad, like that kind of bad owners, it's one thing to be Tepper, right? Tepper meddles and he throws drinks on other fans and stuff. But by all accounts, it looks like he's willing to spend, really, which is what you need on an owner. And, oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. Another way that big chip stacks at the table matters is I believe the way that the CBA is negotiated now, all guaranteed money that will be paid out, like signing bonus money and everything, has to be put in escrow. Like it has to be, you have to have it, which is why things like Mahomes' deal, where Mahomes' deal wasn't fully guaranteed, but it was every year, like the next 3 years in advance becomes guaranteed. So there's never more than like $100 million guaranteed, but there's never less than $100 million. Like it doesn't go down every year, another year. And they do that just so they don't have to put $500 million in an escrow account. If you can do that, you can make more. If you could put $500 million in an escrow account, you can make more guaranteed money offers to free agents and things and make your guys happier, which is something that the Panthers should be able to do more than other teams. That is a way tangibly that you can see Tepper's money help them out on the field. My point is we're wasting a really rich owner right now by not being the cat's meow and everything that's outside the salary cap. Yeah, you thought you were going to be the old young guy talking about Michael McDonald. I just worked cat's meow into the show.
That's no pun intended. Or maybe pun intended.
Maybe, you know what? It wasn't intended, but appreciated. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to everybody that hung out with us today. I just did the double-double. I don't know if people even care or are aware, but I was on with Adam for the Adam Gold Show. Then I stuck around and did this show, as I always do. And I always
Marathon.
get weirdly thankful after doing 6 hours on this station. There's a point in time in my career where I would have moved mountains to be on this network, to be on 99.9 The Fan in this market, talking to you for a half hour.
But not if it was election coverage.
I would not have been good at election coverage.
Again.
But I would have moved mountains to be on 99.9 The Fan, and it really wasn't as long ago as it seems. So getting to do 6 consecutive hours is not lost on me. I really appreciate it. If you tuned in and you heard me throughout your day, I greatly appreciate you, and hopefully you'll keep giving us a shot. Subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Search for it, subscribe. You can find more of it.
We're at getting closer to 18,000 subscribers
18.
now.
I want 20,000. That's the next goal. The goals keep changing, but they should. We keep aiming higher. We want 20,000 on YouTube. So please tell your friends about it, 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Max for keeping us up and running today here on The Drive. He'll be with us again tomorrow for Tuesday's show. So we'll see him then. Until then, everybody, have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your